Okay, I don't think anybody's in the room. I got you up there. I see the camera's off and you got yourself muted. So you told me you were.
Yeah, that's so you don't hear me crunching.
uh, what are you eating?
Oh, my salad. Oh, I got to have my salad.
Wonderful, wonderful. Angela, I just got back from taking a walk on the beach. I was almost late getting back, uh, but here I am. I don't know
Yes,
how clear I sound.
you
Um,
sound perfectly clear.
okay, good. I guess we just wait for people to come in. But while we're
Yeah, you take it away while I finish a little bit of my salad.
okay, I will. But I just wanted to tell you, you know how my internet likes to do. So if I
Oh,
drop out, then you just take over until I can get back in. I can usually get back in. Sometimes I have to do a full restart, but sometimes it'll just come back. And there's Gwen B. Peace,
oh
Gwen
man, hey,
B.
Sister Gwen
Thank
B.
you for your review,
Oh my goodness.
and thank you for the video after that, which actually came before that, where you were saying the difference between black literature and pro-black literature, and I told Angela about that, and she agreed. She said, "Yeah, there is a difference, and that uh, me and Sister AJALI are actually pioneering that." And I never thought of it that way or considered that. But I I agree. I think you're right. So I don't know why I was thinking like you were like you were about to say something. But hold on just a moment. Let me fix this. Okay, I did that. Okay, there we go. Because I'm in Streamyard and I went on and yeah, and I went on and I apologize for the noise in the background. And we'll wait for a few more people to get in. And I guess that's about it. Melanin is still doing well on Amazon, and trying to get the word out about surviving the worst. That is my Kendall Vela story. When you go to that, be sure and leave a uh, leave a thumbs up on the story and follow it because that helps me out. It helps to build the viewership and so on, or the readership rather. And they're the things that me and Sister Anjali write are different in their way, but just like you were saying, Queen Gwen, is that our styles are different. What we write is kind of sort of different, but none of it is insulting. It's uplifting and it's for our people, and it is it's meant to take control of our narrative. And we're seeing even with like recent movies that come out, whether they be at the theater or on Netflix or whatever, there are a lot of people who are, and again, I apologize for that noise in the background, but there's a lot of people who are getting uh, fed up with it, getting upset at seeing like the obvious slaps in the face that our people are getting, especially when it comes to like trying to bash black men or trying to bash black women. And it's starting to become really, really obvious. It was always there. Um, I would even go as far as to say that um, black exploitation movies were like that in the 70s. Um, not maybe not to that degree, and maybe they were. I'd be interested in hearing what Sister Anjali has to say about that. But they now we look at them with a kind of nostalgia and like they were cool and stuff. And there's stuff like Blackula and Scream Blackula Scream, and movies like that that I honestly don't feel offended when I watch them. And we see the fabulous Gila is in the house. Here, let me mod you up. There. This is Angela on my phone, so hard to navigate. Peace, Gwenby, and Red. Oh, I see. What did you say, hon? Oh, right. Yeah, she says she's in the house. Literally, she's in the back room. And so, right. So anyway, that I think that at one point our people were kind of looking at it as if that was our way of taking control of our own narrative. But the problem was that there were still, stereotypes still abounded in those movies. But it was kind of a different time. You said you never seen a black exploitation film. You never seen like a Pam Grier movie or brother? You never seen Blackula?
Wow.
Bernie Casey did one called Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Black, and in that he was a black guy. He would turn white and then start murdering people. So,
Oh my God, I never saw that one. What's that called?
yeah, that's what Bernie Casey. It's called Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Black.
Oh, I'll have to see if I can find that. That sounds like fun.
It's pretty good.
I mean, I don't mean it literally. I'm just saying it sounds like a good plot line. I know they destroy it at some point in time, but I'm just saying.
Yeah, I'm now looking at it now. Okay, yeah, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Black, and yeah, stars Bernie Casey, and he doesn't turn into a white man. He they just like kind of powder his skin. It almost looks like they used flour on him and made his hair white. So every time he turns into Mr. White, um, well, this says Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Black. So Dr. Black and Mr. Hyde. There's like a million names for this thing. And it's all the same movie, Dr. Black and Mr. Hyde. So I guess Mr. Hyde is when he turns white. And it's like a literal white. Yeah, Dr. Black and Mr. Hyde. So that's it. That's that. So are you there, Sister AJALI? Are you still eating?
I can put it to the side. I just have a couple more forkfuls. But yeah, I'm still here. You would ask a really good question at the outset, and I don't remember what it was because I wanted to address it.
I can't remember what. Do you remember what my question was, Gwen? I can't remember what it was.
I know it was a really good question too, but that's okay. There's always good questions.
Right. It may come to me when I'm not thinking about it. I wish Family Movie Night was with Iyapo had taken off and not started with that awful movie about the guy buried alive. Shoot, that movie was the bomb. Not for the guy that was buried alive, but I found it entertaining.
Which movie?
There's a movie called Buried with Ryan Reynolds. And Ryan Reynolds is the guy that plays Deadpool. And the movie starts off with him buried alive. And the entire movie for like 90 minutes is literally him inside this casket and all this in there with him. Peace, Queen, I know who I am.
Peace, Sister Queen, I know who I am. And peace, Sister Gwen B, and fabulous Jella. How you doing?
But yeah, the entire movie is just him inside that thing. There's no other cast members.
I remember I saw that.
Yeah, so that's it. But that's enough of that. On to more weighty matters. The reason I wanted to make this stream was actually is because of what happened yesterday in my comments section, and what happened was in my video for my last live stream, Sister AJALI left comments, and other people I know left comments, and none of those comments show up.
I'll share my image of that because it's crazy.
Right. But and at the same time, I understand what they're doing, which is what they're trying to do because they're always trying to drive division or create division among us. They when one of us does a video and you don't see any comments or you only see one or two comments, what happens with it? What happens with it is that it makes you feel like nobody's watching and or nobody's listening or that nobody cares enough to say anything.
Yep.
So that's what they're trying to do on your side of it, and then they end up with a twofer because what happens on the other side, human nature being what it is, you have people leaving comments, and they can still see when they open up their browser, they see their comments on your channel, and they don't know that you don't see them. So then they're feeling like, well, they're just ignoring me. They're not, they're
Yep.
not giving me a heart. They're not responding. They're not saying anything. So
Mm-hmm.
that's the other side of it. They want to the they want to make the content creator feel like no one's interacting with them, and they want the other person on the other side to feel like they're being ignored by the content creator. And again, this can cause division and so on. When you look at a channel or a set of channels like Sister Radicals, you when you look at those, I just switched over to your screen, Sister AJALI. But when you look at her channels and what they did to her channel, she had 24,000 subscribers on her main channel, 24,000 subscribers, and you don't get that overnight. That's like a decade, over a decade worth of work that she did to get all those subscribers, and then they just pulled them and pulled every single channel that she had with it. And what they will say is, well, it's because of community guidelines. There is a Rihanna video up right now that the title of it is a vulgarity. Just the title of it is a vulgarity. And then if you can sit through the video, it's filled with violence and gunplay. There's full frontal nudity of there's like a woman's grown women's full frontal nudity. Period. Full frontal nudity. And
Wow,
all I would
that's
say is
intense.
if you're interested in seeing this video, I won't say the name of it because it's vulgar, but just put in Rihanna and then put the better have my money, because that's what it's called. B better have my money. And on that, they got this guy tied to, this guy, Mads Mikkelsen, who, in full disclosure, is one of my favorite actors. But Mads Mikkelsen is tied to this chair, and and then they have this white woman hanging up from the ceiling upside down, and she has her hands tied behind her back, and no top on at all, no blurring, none, no blurring. Okay, but they're pulling my sister down because of community guide. What the f? Because of community guidelines?
Wow.
We know it's a farce. We know it's BS. And like I wrote to you, Sister AJALI, um, privately, but it's nothing that's really private because I'm getting ready to say it. But just like I use the analogy of the husband that's cheating or the spouse is cheating, but I'll use the husband in this case, and they're like sneaking around and they're keeping everything a secret and they lie every time they're confronted about it. And then as time goes by and they're still with their mistress, they start not caring as much whether he starts not caring as much whether his wife knows or not. And so doesn't even try to hide it too much. And then it gets to the point where the wife is sitting in the living room and he just walks in the house with his mistress and walks past her in between her and the television set, walks past her, walks to the bedroom and just does whatever they're going to do with the door open, and then finish up and then take her out to dinner or whatever, his mistress. In other words, not hiding it, not giving any pretense, not that's what we're coming to. I believe that's what's on the horizon, is that at some point very, very soon, they're not even going to give you a BS excuse for what they do. They're not going to be like, oh, it's against our community guidelines. They know that we already know that's BS. They know that they know it. They know that we know that they know it, and so on.
Yeah.
And but it's just something to say. It's quickly going to get to the point, because I see it coming just clear as I can see that tree out my window. Is quickly coming that they're not even going to make excuses anymore. They're just going to pull your shit down and say, say la vie.
Yeah. And the same thing happened to me. I left comments on Sister Lasheed's excellent share where she was talking about, I gotta go on over and show, let's see now. Am I still sharing my screen? Yes, I am. Good.
Yeah, you are.
Where she did an excellent share about cartoon colorism and the masculization of Black women. And she just has such incredible analytical skills. And I haven't been watching the more focus on us and the gossip sort of thing. Not that that's what she does. What happened is when she talks about broader topics, YouTube just takes the video down and silences her channel altogether. So I can't blame her. She's like, look, I'll keep the channel up there. I'll just talk about the stuff that they let us talk about. But so this is one of her shares where I was like, oh, that looked good. I got to check that out. And I left her a comment. And this one they left here, they took all my comments away. But goodness gracious, I'm so glad that I did save the comments that I made. Because I know that's one of those ways where they're misrepresenting who we are, because none of us espouse violence. None of us are, hate whitey or anything of the sort. We're separate people. We have different needs. We have our own right to sovereignty. Why is it that only white people, like 52 different countries in Europe, get to separate from each other with less difference between them than we have with them ourselves? And so for them to do this, it's a misrepresentation of who we are. And like you were saying, it winds up creating an image of us with even the people who like our content. And I'm like, oh my goodness, I have to share this right here. Where is it? Okay, I'm going to open up a comments page so you can see when I have time, I'm going to respond to each and every single person's comment. Where, oh, nope, it didn't happen right here. Usually it'll come up. Oh, that's because I haven't responded to everybody's comments. Sister Nervy Girl and Sister Queen, I Know Who I Am, and Brother Truth Seeker left comments I haven't been able to respond to. But you see, it's only 3 comments. I can't go down any further. And so all the other comments I responded to, but I noticed that more than likely, a lot of them, the person who left the initial comment never got to see that I replied. And that's a terrible injustice, and it's oppression. But what it is that we're so focused on the historical acts of oppression that we are, and we're so exhausted that we tend to overlook what I've heard others call microaggressions. I just call it, well-hidden oppression. Because even the silencing of my channel, I'm not that upset about it because I know what platform I'm on. But at the same time, that's actually a crime against us, as I'm the only person who is pointing out the FDA now, no more alerts coming from Fukushima farmland, even though the farmland is tested at the same level of radioactivity as it was when the explosion happened. And so all that decontamination didn't get anything, but you're going to be shipping that food over here? That's a vast criminal act on their part to not give people a chance to protect themselves. So given all of that, You know what? I thank them for revealing their Gestapo tactics. They've left no doubt possible anymore.
At the same time, and Jai Africa, I saw you come in a minute ago, and I just didn't have a chance to say anything yet. So peace to you. I saw you
Yes.
enter the room.
Peace, Sister Jai Africa.
And my thing is, uh, my goal, and this is why I told Angela, my goal for the stream isn't even to to rail against YouTube or Facebook or Twitter or anything like that, because it's like it's like railing against a fish for swimming or a bird for flying. The like Angela says, devil's gonna devil, and they just do what they do. So what what I'm what I'm here to talk about is just the fact that among each other, when you comment to somebody, not just me or Sister AJALI, but when you comment to someone and you don't see a reply or you don't see anything, don't immediately get triggered or get upset and think, oh, they're just ignoring me, because there are many, many, many times that they have just made it so that we can't see your comment. And it's a kind of a shadow ban because they make it so that the person who made the comments are looking at them and they can see them fine. And then you come over to the person the comments are meant for, and it's a blank screen.
It's just a lucky break that yesterday, by chance, I asked if you had seen my comments on your share on your live,
right,
with brother Aaron Collins,
right,
and brother Info, because otherwise I would have just been like, oh, maybe he's just too busy. That's my overall assumption is that I know how labor intensive it is to run a channel, so I don't get upset if somebody doesn't respond. But those comments were coming from my heart because I was just so ecstatic for you, because you had reached number 30.
right.
Phenomenal. And both of you were just, like, I was like, stop mentioning me. It's not about me. It's about you. And so I caught it afterwards on your channel, not the original interview with brother Info, where I was there in the chat room. But I left because I didn't get the notification for your live. Even though I got the bell ding. And I just was like, oh my goodness, brother, because I went on, because I didn't check my scroll to see who was live at the same time. Otherwise, I would have come over to you.
Right.
And so I went live based on, I was just feeling like emotional about a topic. So I left all those comments just saying, my brother, oh my goodness, I'm so sorry, I didn't know. And wow, what an incredible conversation with you and your queen and with brother Aaron Collins. Mm-hmm. And Info Man, who came in too, and you couldn't see any of that. That's so despicable. It's so underhanded. It's so friggin' micro controlling. They're anal retentive freaks.
Well, that's the thing, is the understanding that we as Black people, especially in America, but globally, we exist in a system that works actively against us. It's not happenstance. It's not, we actively have people working against us, and it's kind of a wonder to behold, because one of the things that I believe upsets them is that historically they put our people at every disadvantage possible, and we're still either able to look them in the eye or look them in the forehead, and they're like, wait a minute, we have every advantage and we can't outdo you. But we're constantly like stepping on you and stomping on you, and you always excel past us while we're stepping on you and stomping on you. And I think that there's a whole lot going on. There's like the aspects of jealousy. There's the aspects of just hate. There's the aspect of needing us and hating us at the same time. And so that has to drive you crazy. Like you're with somebody that you cannot stand, but you have to be with them so that you can live.
Wow.
And that would
Yeah.
really piss you the F off.
That's so true. That I think hits their conundrum and their lunacy right on the head of the nail. Because that's one of the things where why I'm not upset, because I understand or I accept that's who they are. This is what they do. It's like after a while, the bully in the schoolyard, oh yeah, there's the bully, you know?
Right.
And so for me, I was like, I'm this it's not even that I had to tell myself that I wasn't going to get all obsessed and upset about them removing every single channel. It
Mm-hmm.
was accepted in my own soul, my own being. I'm not in a situation where I'm at they won't even let me represent who I am as a person, and they've been doing this for years and years, so I don't expect anything better from them. And
Right.
that's why I'm also like, good, at least they're acknowledging and people can see how petty they are and how and vicious, because I'm actually trying to stop genocide. I don't want to do it by
Right.
myself, but I'm just saying what that's good for everybody. That's good for the white people, that's good for the Hispanic people, that's good for the Indian people, that's good for everybody. Because there's no information that I share that I'm like, don't tell anybody but the black people. Like, what? But they're going to let it go. So they wind up exposing, like you were saying with the Rihanna video. Oh my goodness, how despicable is that? And all the other
Right.
videos that we've seen up here where it's not tolerable. And I'll never get over you telling me that Cynthia G gets 3,500 live participants on her lives as she's calling for the selective abortion of black male babies. How the hell is that allowed up here? But a housewife trying to just give helpful information using the facts, not my, inflated hysterical delusions. And at the same time, I never call for violence. Anybody who speaks to me about, we got to go out and start shooting this one, I remove your comment. And if you're just too aggressive with it, I actually will block that person.
Right. And that's the thing. That's the thing, though, Sister AJALI. We know how that works. And a nervy girl, I saw when you came in. Peace to you. And my aunt speaks, who is quickly becoming one of my favorites. Anyone who's not subscribed to her, or Gwen B, or Queen, you know who I am. Hey, go and subscribe. My aunt speaks is one of my new favorites. But and that's the thing. Right now, I'm a black man on a panel, and everyone in the chat right now is a black woman. My beautiful black wife is in the chat, in the house, but in the chat, and she's my wife. And nobody's degrading anybody here. Nobody's warring with anybody. Nobody's saying black men ain't S or black women ain't S. All that garbage, all that trash that is going on is promoted. These lunatics are given blowhorns, and they're not given blowhorns in spite of the fact that they're lunatics. They're given blowhorns because they're lunatics.
Exactly.
And everything, and see, this is the other part of it, is when it comes to YouTube and Facebook and the rest of social media, what we have to keep in mind is that the system of white supremacy, the system as it stands that we're inside of right now, everything that benefits the system is going to promote. And so I don't give a crap how bad you're talking about white folks, calling them names all this way. I couldn't care less how much you're doing that, because neither do they. Because if you're calling them all kinds of names and you're talking about them bad and all this stuff, but
they like that.
at the same time you're trying to integrate into them, and that's why you're so ticked off, then you're still working toward their purpose, because that's their purpose, is for us to integrate into them, because it never benefits us, ever hasn't, and never will benefit us. Go ahead, go and take the floor, Sister AJALI.
And also, I see the pattern. They want chaos. They want people just paranoid, fearful,
Right.
Always racing to the next emergency. And so they actually prefer, because they, in the media, they're constantly portraying our violence. Like the new one was a riot somewhere. And I'm like, how many sporting events do you have? It's just a hockey event, and
Right.
white folks will go out and burn up the first car they see.
Right.
But they don't put that out in the headlines like, oh my goodness, look at these animals. But they'll do that constantly when it comes to us, in order to accentuate all they want to have that friction, so that white people, they don't even know that just because we want to separate, actually we're the sanest Black people they'll ever want to know, because
Right.
we don't want, it's like, you go do you, be white, have plenty of white babies, right? When you want that for yourself, why do you want it? I know they don't want to be Brazil. Oops, sorry. I know they don't want to be Brazil, and so they don't want white people to realize that they're being played themselves, in terms of constantly, they prefer to see us in a lower position. They prefer to see us as animals, but the elites who control the media and social media play against that, and stoke the fear, so that if there's a random white person who might be thinking, well, maybe it's not good to be racist. I'm not saying that they would change significantly, but I'm just talking about the game that they play when they have us in the headlines as, oh, we're just the wild ones, when you said it, I've said it. We got what, war in Ukraine? Why isn't that being depicted as a giant friggin' gang war?
Right.
This is what it is.
Right. In my last live stream, I just named the different states, and I can name them like pretty, easily, because I think about it so much. Just the fact that, especially when it comes to our people, we're told to focus on, Black men and Black women are the most dangerous people on earth, and so on and so forth. While you have a specific group of people who are literally, and you know how I am with literal and figurative, who are literally destroying the planet out from under us.
Literally.
And I mean not only with the radiation, but endless wars globally with chemical and biological weapons, with GMO foods, or I hate to call them foods, but you know what I mean. With GMO crap. It's good to see you, sis.
Oh, thank you. My son was cooking, so I didn't want to have the camera on him.
Oh, it's all right. And just I'm not going to go through the whole list, but what I'm always trying to emphasize is, and when I see you in there, brother, it's good to see you. What I'm always trying to emphasize is that what it in terms of explosives, what we do might be a handful of firecrackers, and what they do is like 10 kilos of dynamite.
Right.
But yet everything is focused on us. Everything, Black on Black crime. What? That's a myth anyway, and a mess. And I don't like it, but I'm starting to become acutely aware of who it is I'm dealing with. Oh, by the way, I want to also give a shout out and a mention to Omawale Africa. If you get a chance, go and visit his channel. That's where I actually met my aunt Speaks on his channel.
Oh,
and
okay.
if you want to hear intelligent, balanced debate, I don't know that I've ever that I have yet come across a person who is a better moderator uh, of debates. And I actually know where he's coming from philosophically, but he still lets people speak and have their say, and he makes sure that the room stays respectful, and and to the degree that he can, he keeps the chat room respectful. And like I said, Omawale Africa, I can't shout that brother out enough. And he's a young brother, but he's just good like that. So that's kind of a side note. But and he has a series. Um, My Eye Speaks. I don't know if you saw, but he's doing a part three. he's he has a part one and a part two about the gender war, right? And he has like a panel, but he was deciding whether to even do a part three because it was getting heated in there. It stayed respectful. It did. It stayed respectful because that's the way he handles the room. But he's doing it, and I'm like, yeah, that brother got a lot of heart. He's doing a part three. So, and I'm hoping my aunt speaks will be up in there because she's been up on the panel for the last two, and she brings a definite voice of reason to it,
Mm,
from a woman's point of view, a black woman's point of view.
that's
So
a beautiful thing.
anyway, that's my plug for my I Speaks and Omawale Africa.
Yeah,
And I'll
I'll definitely subscribe. I subscribe to two of the channels that you and Brother Info had mentioned, and I was so grateful because it's just like slim pickings.
it
So
is.
yeah.
It is. So you go and take the floor. I'm getting ready to go and get this link to Omawale
Okay.
and
Yeah,
put
and
it.
that's good because I have something to say in terms of Sister Gwenby and the
Yeah,
share that she
yeah.
did about just pro-black literature. I loved your review. It was a little scary for me because I was just like, oh no, I was trying not to write so much of a poetic novel. And so it's like, our people aren't going to buy a novel that's written kind of poetically. um, but at the same time, it was a beautiful review. And the review that you left on Amazon for This Black Nation, just, fantastic. Uh, it was just the subject matter of the pro-black literature and your commentary, your analysis on it. I said it, I'll say it again. I was in church up in here. Literally, it's one of those things where I wasn't trying to be in church. It was just you would say things that just made me go, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And it was just such a wonderful relief to feel appreciated because the silence can be deafening. Um, but it's also so beautiful to be recognized as part of something, as the pioneers of something that I agree with. The sister was just stating how so much of our, not so all of our narratives here in the continental Americas are not really pro-black. They can be lovely, they can be a wonderful thing. One of the things she mentioned is that individually we'll survive whatever hardship faces us, but collectively as a group there's no solution. It's just sort of ultimately white supremacists where we reintegrate ourselves. Maybe we found some little corner and we feel like little mice, like we're safe in this little hole here. And that's the end of the movie. Whereas I love your description of the karate movies you talked about, and I don't want to even give away so much of your share because I want people to go to your channel and watch it there. But the karate movies where you just knew, okay, that's a Chinese one, that's a Korean one, because they all are the victors. They portray themselves and their people as the winners. And I've been the same as you my whole life. I even start to, now, I never thought there was anything wrong with me. I just thought, oh, sooner or later, Black narration is going to evolve to the next level. And that's when I began to realize it's a setup. It's not produced, it's not monetarily supported. purported to ever portray us in the full scope of who we are. I'm like, how could people who write such incredible love songs not know love between themselves? How would that even be remotely possible that we don't know tenderness? They've made sure that they've weaponized all music produced by us now. So any music, not only on social media, is every black woman has to be a thought and every black man has to be a thug, but in the music too. And that is just so, hypnotic, the way that beat will draw you in, especially as a young person. You won't often pay attention to what you're listening to until it's too late. And then you think that's the real you. The real me is meant to be a killer. The real me is meant to twerk. No matter what my age is, no matter how many children I have, I'm supposed to roll my behind in front of people. And that's some sort of skill. So I am so happy to be a part of something that's a whole new genre. That you're right. I want more. I want more of our people who are talented in putting sentences together, putting paragraphs, and then it leads to a whole story. I want more. I'm so glad Sister Angela is writing. And greetings to everybody who I missed also. Beloved Sister Nervy Girl and Sister Queen Mayat Speaks. It's great to meet you, sister. And great to meet another sister who's also sane, because there's so many of us and we don't, most of us are not going to put up with this friggin' pigsty social media in order to put our needed voices out there. So it winds up being a self-censorship. And peace, beloved brother, unsunken one. So yeah, that share you did, I'm going to listen to it several times because it healed me. Sometimes it could just feel so isolating to do something, especially if it's never really been done before. And so that's why I was so grateful when Brother Iyapo was like, I'm writing a book. I was like, what? And he's the one who propelled me to keep on going. And so to just be part of that's monumental. That's beyond me. Right? That's us. That's us. It's in a whole nother category now. So thank you for that.
I want to add something too. That's in terms of coming up with something new. And it's hard for me. Angela is a very humble woman. Angela is my wife, for those who don't know. She is a very humble woman, and she doesn't really like she on Kendall Vella. She has already put the first three installments, right? The first three installments of her story, which is I Declare Love. And what she's doing is something very new. And what she's writing is a story about Black love, right? But void of a bunch of tension and drama. Is that right?
Yeah. Well, the what I'm putting up on Kindle Vella is a prologue to a piece that I'm writing called Love, Freedom, and Abolition. And the novel is about a modern day, a family that's helping people to get free of enslavement and free of imprisonment in different ways. And so this is where the woman kind of gets married into the man's family. The prologue is where they meet and they get married. And it just happens quick. So Love, Freedom, and Abolition is a non-traditional love story to me because it's about the love of us for our people and for freedom and all of that. And the prologue is a non-traditional love story because it's not that typical. We met, we fall in love, and then we have to break up. And then somehow we just meet, we fall in love, and then we go on about our business. Because we got enough drama. But as Black folks, we got enough drama. We don't need drama in our relationship.
So that's it. And honestly, it's the type of thing where if you can juggle that. And Lashid, I see you just came in. Peace to you, sister. It's so good to see you. if you can juggle that, then that's something else. That is like really new because so far, and I've read a couple three black love romances before. Um, don't tell anybody, but I've read a few,
You're
and
funny.
there's always like some kind of drama. I don't really know how to explain it. And I've seen them in movies and so on, but to try to write one that there's like tension in it at the same time that there's not a lot of drama, that'll be a neat trick.
Well, I mean, it's already written, so it's going to be what it's going to be. People going to enjoy it or not, but
I
am enjoying it.
Yeah,
I love love.
Bye. Bye. I love you, honey. So
that's the most important part, that you have to enjoy the story. So it is speaking to those needs you've always wanted to see in the written word, and it's never been addressed. So that's a beautiful thing. I look forward to that.
Right, and it's up on Kindle Vella right now. Kindle Vella, all three of her, because they're done in what's called episodes, and when you read the episodes, the first three are free anyway, and she only has 3 up there right now. And then after that, they go behind a paywall, but it's not expensive. It's like a few cent or whatever, like a quarter, 50 cent, whatever. But right now, hers are not behind any kind of a paywall because the first 3 are free. I'll put a link in the thing. Surviving the Worst is up there, and mine is behind the paywall. Now, my 4th episode, but the first 3 are free. And then I didn't get on here to push all that. I know I should.
Yes, you should. What's wrong with that?
Stuff. And that's I'm not real good at that.
I understand.
You know, I know
way.
you. Right. So anyway, Lashida, a little bit. I'm gonna open up the floor so that you can come on here for a change.
That would be wonderful, because I wanted to share that, because you are coming in now, Sister Lashid, that I left huge comments on your amazing share about the cartoon masculization of the Black woman. I left 3 comments, and they removed them all together. They want you to think that I had nothing to say. I didn't just leave an invite to this live. I left comments because I watched the whole share.
Wow. It's like I said, I'm going to say this, and then I think I'm going to open up the floor if it's all right with you, unless you have something to add. But yeah, like I said, I didn't come up to like bash YouTube or Facebook or any kind of social media, because they are what they are. Devil's going to devil. My main goal is to just let our people know that, if you comment on the creators' stuff and they don't respond, it could if they're pro-Black, it could be very well because they have hidden the comments from that creator, and they don't even know that anybody has responded. And as a creator, don't get downhearted when you see your numbers looking wonky, or when you see your video that you just did and there's no comments there, like on my, because I have several of them.
They do that to you all the time.
They do that to me all the time, and people are telling me that they commented and they just hide the comments from me so that I can't see them or respond to them. So, and I know that I'm not the only one they do that to. If you're really pro-Black, they're going to do that. So I'll let you have the floor, Sister AJALI, and then I'm going to send out the link into the chat room.
Yeah, I've that's the thing I recognize. When it comes to Black men, you are shadow banned, hidden, more than any other category of people that I've ever encountered on YouTube. And the ones who I see are very greatly hidden, even though to a certain extent it's because they limit their range, are the white anti-nukers. who tell the truth about what's going on, I
Right.
see their numbers are stay low. And I'm just like, how is that possible when they're providing the data that proves they're talking the truth?
Right.
But the only people I see who are treated as if you are Fukushima itself are you Black men. I think, I've said it where when I came up here, they expect every single Black woman out there to be just like, automatically deferential to the white hegemony.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't, they're like, they always, like, if you've gone to a school with white people, I'm not saying they're all awful. That's not my point. My point is that they have very Disney-fied ideas about who we are as a people. And that's natural because they're not us and they never will be us.
Right.
So they tend to interpret us in these broad generalizations. And that allowed me to sort of get in when YouTube was still YouTube and Google didn't own it yet. And then they came in and did a beeline and they changed everything because way too many people were getting out a massive quantity of the truth. And it was reaching those Black us that they don't want it to reach at all. So it's just heartbreaking because I'll see sometimes they'll have like, Trump. He did some video or something, and I saw it got like 1 million views, and then it was pulled down. And people were saying, Trump is being shadow banned. I was like, get that 1 million views? You think they don't know? Look at how they treat Black men. You can have 30 subscribers, and they'll jump in within 2 sentences of a new upload. If you do anything that they're like, oh, no, you can't talk about that.
Right.
So they know it's selected the way that they put these algorithms out here.
Well, there's a guy I listen to sometimes, Jimmy Dore, and he's a white guy, and I listen to him sometimes. And one time I heard him talking about how he's shadow banned and he's brother, and it's like, and I'm like, dude, you have 1 million plus subs, and so, but when they say that, I think about it, I'm like, yeah, white broke ain't Black broke.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah. So if you have 100,000 subscribers, and for them to shadow ban you means one thing, and you know what I mean. Like I said, white broke ain't Black broke.
That's very well said.
So you run around here, and I'm like 800. I finally broke the 824 ceiling, and now I have 840 some subscribers.
And probably because you mentioned it. They notice when we mention stuff, they try to find more clever ways to hide it. Like Sister Lashid had noticed how when we would do lives, it wouldn't be in the scroll feed.
Right.
So we kept mentioning it, that they were doing that to us, and suddenly, boom, they put it right back up. They noticed.
I gotta tell you, this has nothing to do with what we're talking about. Sister she did this live stream where she was talking about Beavis and Butthead, right? Playing something. I was sitting there literally crying, laughing, because I was crying. But anyway, that's what as Lashid would say. Anyway.
You know.
Right. I'm gonna give Lashid the floor.
Hey guys, I'm kind of late. I'm so glad that I caught your post and I'm in the middle of like rendering because I'm gonna re-upload a stream that I did talking about Jeffrey Dahmer, since they've brought they have like on Netflix, and some family members are protesting. My husband told me that one of the sisters of the victims, one of Jeffrey Dahmer's victims, she has an issue with this series that's on Netflix that I'm noticing, and it keeps on popping up. And I notice when I watch a movie on Netflix, it goes right into, once the movie is done, like I watched First Blood, right? Rambo First Blood, went right into the Jeffrey Dahmer series. Like, they want you to watch this, and I don't want to watch it. And being that I live 2 blocks away from where that happened, my uncle he worked at the same job as Jeffrey Dahmer. And so what I'm going to talk about, I don't want to get too controversial on your stream. I don't want but you know what I talk about with the MK. I'll just put it that way. So I'm just gonna re-upload and give him my honest opinion on. Yeah, and I caught you. So in between rendering, I said, let me check my comments with my last upload. I was so glad because there's a difference between when you're watching these streams live and catching it live. I hate that I don't catch y'all streams live. It's like I do not. I'll get a notification for everyone else, every and anything, like recommendations, notification, even channels I'm not subscribed to. Like since I've been kind of going at with the golden. I don't know if you've heard of the golden. Their videos, even though I'm not subscribed to their channels on my random.
Yes, I'm always subscribed to you, Sister Lashid. So
yeah, in their videos, that's why I had to just leave the Random Topics channel, because it was like all their videos would be showing up as recommends, even if I'm not subscribed. And I found myself getting caught up going in a back and forth with a lot of those persons and finding myself getting ugly, cussing people out and stuff. And I'm not trying to do that. I don't want to be known for that up in here. That's not, yeah. So it's like I'm on eggshells now talking about colorism and stuff. And it's like, oh my gosh. I'm like, forget that. I got to be me. I can't, you know what I'm saying? I can't hold back what, I'm trying to be so considerate of everybody. And I'm not, I just can't do that. But anyways, I'm kind of late up in here, so I'm I gotta rewind. So yeah. Well, so how y'all doing? Thanks for inviting me.
You're welcome, Lashid. I want to thank you for what you do and everything. I in your life when you're doing your the colorism ones, then I kind of don't watch, but that's kind of a lie, because Angela will be like, yeah, don't lie, because sometimes I'll sit back in the cut for a little while. I'm like, what is going on? And I'm sitting like taking notes, because that actually is going to play a factor in the sequel to Melanin.
Yeah, they've been, and I haven't, now I've got like, now I can't say even a quarter through the book, but I have, yeah, because I've been made into, now all of a sudden I'm a light-skinned savior, and I hate biracials, and I hate, and I'm like,
that's so funny to me.
It's gaslighting.
I know that for some people you're, lighter skin, but you're so phenotypically Black.
They know, your
whole attitude, your whole way of speaking, and you're analyzing. You're such a sister. I don't see you any other way.
I don't know. It's a different. I'm gonna tell you, the radical sister. It's like it's a different generation up in here, and I think they playing along, because anybody could look at me and clearly see. Yeah, I can't help. You know how these laptops, they'll come off showing you looking extra bright and stuff like that. So like I just had an interview with my niece. I'm like, oh, it's a positive, because she had just lost a whole bunch of. I was losing weight with her. I was exercising and stuff with her. And my niece happened to be biracial. But I fell off because I got discouraged. I fell off.
That happens.
Yeah, because me going through the whole menopause thing, I wasn't used to losing weight. So like 1 pound a week and I'm busting my behind. But she has like lost over 70 pounds since like January, and me working with her. And so I was like, let's talk about this. We need something positive to talk about up in here, And so of course it's people coming up in there because they just happen to look extra bright on the laptop, and I can't help how it's coming out looking with the but this is just they playing these games. This is to gaslight, to shame you. They know better. They know what's up. Like I said, they never in my life have I ever been questioned. Are you mixed? Anybody can clearly look and see. So they're playing. This is just to silence us, to try to guilt trip you. Like they know if it was someone white, I won't hold back putting them in check. But I am kind of, let's say somebody who I still see some of my people in, I am going to hold back. And some people know this. You know what I'm saying? And so they've even went as far as saying, I don't respect biracials. There have been people going that far. I have no, you know what I'm saying? It got real ugly at one point. But I'm not gonna, like I said, sometimes it's okay if people believe that you hate them and this and that. You can't change people. Let them believe. I noticed that with certain white trolls up in here. When I just went on and started responding, I am this. If you want to call me racist, I am. And what, they left me alone. It's sad that you got to respond like that. But I noticed that they left me alone.
But you know what the thing is, well, one of the many reasons that I don't participate is because I don't know how long it's going to be before our people realize or recognize the tried and true divide and conquer strategy. It's like there's a line in I think it's either the first or second Avengers where Loki does this thing and Thor comes at him and he goes through him whatever, and Loki said, "Are you ever not going to fall for that?" And that's how I feel. That's how I feel our people are sometimes. I can just see white people say, "Are y'all ever not going to fall for this?"
Wow.
Conquer.
That was a policy I started with the beginning of my channels, because I saw that how many of them own computer systems and really high-tech ones, and and then there's the click farms and all the rest of it. So I made it a policy. Number one, I'm not reading your comment. And then I'm just blocking and deleting you as soon as I could, with just a couple words, recognize there's no conversation happening here, because they have the same flow. They come in disrespectful. And then they want to pontificate on top of that. You don't own me. I'm not your slave. I don't need to explain a damn thing to you. And so I just block and delete and move on, because that's a waste of my time. And it's also actually a waste of theirs, because why are you here? If you don't like me, you don't agree with me.
Oh yeah.
I'm a big believer in the exchange of energy. I wasn't that way before, but I'm becoming that way more and more. And the thing is, it's just like they say about a relationship, or they say about a child and attention. Anything is better than nothing. And a child will act out to get negative attention or positive attention. All they want is the attention. And what I'm seeing and what I believe about white people is that they require our energy, and it doesn't matter whether it's positive or negative. And they make movies that are showing. I mean, they hide everything. I'm not telling anybody on this panel anything they don't know, or anybody in the chat they don't already know. But they make movies and they put everything right in front of you. Monsters Inc. What was it about? It was about an entire civilization that was run off the energy of fear, and then at the end of it, it was run off the energy of joy and laughter. But the point was that entire civilization was run off of energy, off of an emotional energy, off of metaphysical energy, and they know that. They know it. And so that's why they're always showing up in our spaces. That's why they'll stop you for having a what do you call it, a scented whatever hanging down from your rear view mirror, and then they stop you, because they're saying that it has nothing to do with that. It has everything to do with getting our people stirred up, getting us upset, and draining our energy. They're energy vampires.
Wow, that's something you're saying that, because I've been addressing them now, and this was totally coincidental. I had found myself, and I only went to the Random Topics channel because of my the channel that I set up, Lashid, for you after my channel was terminated. That you remember they had came at me with strikes and stuff, and it was after I did it was not long after I did the talking about the baby sacrificing and stuff. Now that I had finally got that channel monetized, even though I'd been up in here for over 10 years, never had a channel monetized, never having my original channel monetized. I went on and got, let me see, what was it, 2021? Because the Kobe Bryant videos, it had really shot up subscribers. So I said, you know what, I'm going to take advantage of this for the first time in YouTube, being that YouTube is taking advantage of me. When I think of all the views that I've brought in on my original channel, which was terminated very unjustly. Yes, I said, let me get it monetized. I noticed in 1 week I had already had strikes and stuff before, but in 1 week, they put a strike on my channel, 2 strikes, and demonetized my channel. It was not long after I did and talking about, with the, the whole thing aborting Black boys. And I was talking about, and And that's when I was like, let me go to the random topics channel. Let me let this channel rest, because it's like you got to automatically, let me put everything on private. And let me put, it's like forcing me to put a lot of streams and videos on private.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, let me go over on this channel, because it's like you got to have an alternative channel now to preserve this channel. And it ain't even so much, it's not even so much the monetization, that's not, because you don't really make much from it,
Right.
And if you say a curse word, if you say they end up demonetizing the video anyway. You know what I'm saying? Like if you say anything, there's certain words that they look for, and so you don't really, but.
Mm-hmm. Can I tell you? I don't know if you heard what I was talking about earlier, but
no, I just came in.
But Rihanna, I don't know if you've seen it or not, but Rihanna has that video. The B better have my money, right?
Wow.
And I don't know if you've seen it. The thing, not first. It has a warning at the a parental guidance warning at the beginning of it, saying that it contains violence, language, and nudity, right? And then it's like this violent, freaking video, full of profanity, and there's a part in the video, and I was telling AJALI and everybody about it because I seen the video. It has Mads Mikkelsen. I don't know if you know who he is, but he's tied to a chair, and this white woman is tied up, and she's hanging from the ceiling with no top on, full breasts exposed, no blur. But yet
this is in YouTube now.
This is on YouTube. It has over, I can't remember how many million views it has, and has been up for several years, and hasn't been pulled down. It has several million views.
You mean this isn't even a new video?
No, it's not even a new video.
Wow.
And so, but if I say, the whatever word, this is coming down. And the irony is that if I were to put that video on this video right now, they flag it and they pull it down. Not for copyright. They flag it and they bring it down for community guidelines.
Yeah, and they probably get rid of your channel.
Right. And real quick, because Gwen B has been sitting there very patiently listening. I want to greet General Mosquito, Fabulous Gila. Thank you for the super chat. And I'm not monetized. I just I just like hearing people say that. I think it's funny when people say that. So I'll start saying it. I don't get super chats. But there's Gwen. So, and Gwen B, thank you for the super chat. I'm gonna give you the floor. I'm gonna go look for this video real quick. I'm gonna give you the floor.
Okay.
And I apologize.
Hey, Gwen B, how you doing?
No, real
Okay.
quick. You know what? I'm sorry. I apologize because Lashid, I think I cut you off.
No. I'm listening.
Okay, because Gwen's been sitting here. I'm gonna go and give her the mic.
Okay. I wanted to talk about a few things, and I'm gonna get them out real fast. About your cutting edge, you two are on the cutting edge of a new literary genre, and it's going to be, I expected it to be an easy thing to do a new form of black exploitation movies. So I want y'all to stay on top of it so that y'all can keep this type of media pure, and that is the new pro-black literature and pro-black media, all of it, because it can easily be movies and cartoons. And the biggest fear, one of my big fears is that this becomes a new black exploitation where we're just running around beating up whiteys, so to speak. But that's not what this is really about. Both of y'all gave white people a chance in your books. You got the Blank Seekers, and he's got one of the characters in his book that participated in helping. That, but they participated on our terms. So we didn't, neither one of y'all did anything harmful to white people. If they got harmed, they did it to themselves. And y'all, and you did what we should do, which is stand aside and let them, because we've been rescuing them so much. And that's the only reason they still exist, is because people like us have been rescuing them. So YouTube, I want y'all to stay on top of this and keep it pure by keeping on producing your material. because you are, in my mind, you two are the pioneers of this new way of writing about Black people. And that, so and this could easily be cartoons, movies, etc.
Thank
About
you. Well,
you're
That's a good
welcome.
I just want
point.
to say something real quick. I'm putting this. I'm putting this in the. I'm putting this link in the chat. This is Rihanna's "The Bee Better Have My Money." It has 162 million views, and it was put up 7 years ago,
Yeah.
and it's still up. And it has full frontal nudity, profanity, and violence in it.
But it's a YouTube video, huh?
But
And
this,
what
but
y'all don't know is that
this is
YouTube
the
has
worst
got
we can say.
worse than that all through YouTube. It's got worse than that. They got porn videos. I put a note in there saying that there's an old video called 10 Reasons to Have Sex with Your Dog. This lady still has
Oh
that
my
video up.
God.
She's gone down a list
She's
about.
still there?
Yes, she has that movie. She still has that video up.
Oh my
She looks like a
God.
daycare teacher. She
Yes.
looks like, yeah, she looks like a candy striper, a nurse, or a daycare worker. Look
Yes.
like the little old first grade teacher that would have your children. But she's got a video called 10 Reasons to Have Sex with Your Dog. And she sat down there in front of her washing machine with her big old dog, German Shepherd, going down this list. And she said all these 10 reasons. That's still up. All this stuff is up. And that's why my next topic, I'm looking at y'all's faces, but type in that, go right to it. You can see it. She's sitting in a little chair, sitting down in front of what looks like a washing machine. And she goes down this list. Okay. And that's
Wow.
not to have. If you
Wow.
go to, if I don't know what you have to type in to see porn on YouTube, but there's something, because I saw a lot of stuff on YouTube, this YouTube. Okay. So anytime they're telling us about something we're doing wrong, that's staged. But
Right.
they have
Yeah,
been telling
definitely.
us all along that we don't have control and that they're picking on us and bullying. There was once talk of a class action lawsuit of Black people against YouTube. But we know we in the devil's world. I like
Right.
Angela's phrase, the devil gone devil. She's
Right.
right. About these comments, Sister AJALI, they wasn't giving me your comments until about a day or two after you put them there. That's why I kept answering you one at a time. You might see an answer to something you asked 6 hours ago or 12 hours ago. That's because I didn't see it until then. And when I saw it, I answered. But that's why I was giving you your answers in stages, because they wasn't even showing me your question.
I wonder, it makes me think that there are individual
Yes.
agents
Yes.
who read and
Like
have
somebody on each of us, it seems.
Yeah, somebody
Yes.
on each of us, and they have to go through a protocol to get different things approved. Is this comment okay? Can we let this up or not? And the thing is to separate us all from each other, just like they did to the Black Panther Party, where they forged letters.
Right.
And they sent them out as if it was from the other people, and that wound up causing a whole lot of friction because nobody was expecting them to be that despicable.
This is all the more reason for everybody here to have read these books, because these books kind of tell you something. Okay.
Right.
And so this
You know,
right
I'm
here
still
is
waiting for your
prophecy.
publications. I'm sorry. I'm still waiting for Radical Sisters. It's been weeks now.
What, in the mail?
You still haven't got it.
Wow, and you got it from Amazon?
Yes, through Amazon. I'm gonna check again, and see now with Iyapo's being that it's an ebook. I used to get your publications on Kindle, but this time I want paperback.
Get your paperback, Sister Lachey, get your paperback, but go to a 25-year cycle and get it downloaded, because you can get an e-copy on that, and it'll open up and look.
Send you the in a bit we could send you the hard copies.
And you do want the link. In fact, I want 2 copies of a book, one for taking notes so I can write in it, and the other one to keep pristine, because I think it's history. And I think it's history. That's why I want both of them. 2 more copies of both of the books. I got the books right on my shelf, right beside me.
Yeah, there's nothing like having the book. I was like, I had started with my my Kindle's down anyway.
You want both of them. That's what I'm saying. You want both of them. Trust me.
Okay.
You want the electric copy and you want the hard copy, okay? The
Okay.
electric copy you can take with you anywhere. The hard copy you want on your shelf, so that you will have it in hand, because the devil has been telling us constantly that they got control over the things that the intermediary between us. Okay, I think that we all should share email addresses so we can contact each other when necessary, because this is all they have already told us and revealed to us, that we don't control this. They
Right.
ain't gonna help us get ahead. They want us to fall. Okay,
Right.
get that. We all gotta get that through our heads and live with that.
And this is why I'm like on it. As soon as I think I hear that your channels are terminated, or because this is so frustrating. And I have to ask Radical Sister, have they told you? Has it been confirmed? The video, or because I do want you to appeal if possible, because I wish I would have. Oh, I'm sorry. You're on mute. You're muted.
Yeah.
You're muted, sis. Okay.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay, I hear you.
No, they never said any video. And the fact that they got rid of each and every single channel, it wasn't just one video. The more I think about it, the more I know it wasn't even me dancing over what's her face. It was the content, the sum total content, and it was a historical document of just so much, because I don't put anything on private. I just leave it there. Some things every now and then I may say, okay, I'll take that one down. But I have it all there, and it was a historical document of all their operatives up here too.
There is supposed to be an option to appeal. Okay,
and I
know I'm
have
talking
the
that. Okay, please, because I don't know. It makes me angry. It really frustrates me, because it's kind of it's giving me flashbacks, because you know what happened with me.
I know.
And that hurt me a lot. And no matter how I came back up in there, I still get upset, because I don't feel like it's even my channel. Even though I have my original channel back, and you know how I got it back. I told you, the person.
Yes, that was all real weird.
Real weird. Yeah, when I was on the Random Topics channel, and I had uploaded like an old video of mine, flashback video, where I was talking about Chris Rock mockumentary, Good Hair. And it was like one of the old, like 2009. I was younger.
I remember that one.
Yeah, the videos I happened to have saved. Yeah, and so that person who was trolling me, and it's something, because I'm telling this one person who supports me, she think he's a cool person. I said, no, you don't understand his original username. I know who he originally was. Yeah, the person who was trolling me on behalf of Tommy, that was making all these videos after I was, and I had found information, everything that Tommy was paying, he would make videos for Tommy, and I never put it all out there that I could, what I could have totally exposed. I never really put it out there out of consideration, because I'm, a person name and all that. Yeah, but he had just came up in there just posting, even though I hadn't interacted with that person in years, and he's like, I was able to get your channel back and this and that. And I didn't believe him at first, So I was like, dude, just leave me alone. I'm not bothering you. Will you leave me,
Mm-hmm.
So he kept posting, will you just check? Will you just check? And he had left a link even. And I wasn't going to click that link, because I was like, no telling where that'll take me. But, I've been where they've had it set up. I go to get a gaggers or something. So I said, let me go to the Ancient Egypt site. Let me go to the Egypt Search Reloaded site, where they shared my Ancient Egypt series that I was so proud of. Because I felt so proud. I felt real happy that they shared my series, being that I really respect that site, Egypt Search Reloaded. And I felt really good about it. So it used to make me really sad when I would go there and I'd click and it'd say this channel's been terminated. And so I click in and my videos are there. So I'm like, so right away, I just downloaded all of my videos that I didn't have. I said, let me see if I could click in the password and change the password really quick. But let's say if I now decide to get that channel monetized, because I've lost since then, 2019 when it was shut down, I lost over like 3,000 subscribers. So let's say if I now want to get that channel monetized, because now I'm talking to people, take advantage of YouTube. I feel very foolish that I didn't take full advantage, but I don't feel like that's my channel. When I asked the person, how did you get my channel back? He never responded. So that means that he knows what happened that got my channel shut down. That means these people are working with YouTube. He used to make videos like Hair Added Hooligan and stuff for Tommy. So he had a video, in fact, that went viral. It was this video he did how black women are more submissive to white men, and it went viral. And like that's why I tell people now, he's supposedly this underground unknown YouTuber, right? Nothing goes viral coincidentally. That's bull.
I
How was
always say
it
that just
video that
because
went viral?
they have people working for them at
Yes.
every single level of every platform. So you may think that someone has like 30 subscribers and they're real tiny and they're no
Right.
big deal, but they're working directly for them.
Well,
and I'm
see,
not saying everybody's like that, but I'm just saying they got it covered.
let me
Right.
interject. Let me interject this. That's one of the reasons that I personally don't believe in appeals. I don't believe in boycotts. I don't believe in any of that, especially when somebody says boycott something. Because the way I feel about it is like whether it's Sesame Place or Starbucks or some movie theater or whatever, and somebody says, "Well, we need to boycott them." Well, why do you boycott something? You boycott something because you want people to change what they're doing so that you can start using them. I don't want to use you. I'm not gonna use you. What I want is to get away from you. And so I'm not going to boycott you for what? I'm not going to be there to boycott. I didn't start boycotting the NFL. I stopped watching, and I'm not going back. And so the thing is that just like with what Sister AJALI and I write, just like with what Angela writes, with what Ioka writes, she has something up on Bella. It's called Since I Seen You. But when we have this new group or this new crop of pro-black authors who are starting to come up the ranks, and the point is that just like with I think it's Black Junction. I haven't been there in such a long time, but just like with that, you have black people who are trying to provide alternatives, because a lot of times we go places and we do things because there's no place else to go. I mean, literally just no place else to go. I'm going to this swimming pool where I'm flipping a coin. Maybe they'll abuse me, maybe they won't. But there's no other swimming pool within 100 miles of here, and I don't have a car. So then if you have some black people build a swimming pool that's, just as close, then that's where they can go. And at least as far as media goes, we are doing what we can to, and I'm always saying it, take control of our own narrative and to provide an alternative for our people so that we're not captured up in this system where, if I want to be entertained, I gotta take their crap, or I gotta be watching something, and then all of a sudden, I'm watching it with my 5-year-old, and then next thing you know, a bunch of boobs are flying, or that type of thing. And real quick, I want to welcome Brother Roy O. I saw you in there, and be sure to hit the like button. And Fabulous Gila, thank you for the super chat. And Lashid, you can go on back to what you were saying, but yeah, that's I want to say this though. Another reason I don't appeal is kind of, and this is a touchy subject. When it comes to reparations are owed to our people. That's not even
Yeah.
They are owed. But the thing is, that's who are you talking to? Who are you demand? Even if you're demanding it, you're demanding what from the devil? You don't know who you're dealing with. You have a lack of understanding of who you're dealing with. And so I'll say that, and I'll give the floor back to whoever wants it. Lashid, you're up, and Gwen B's still there. Sister Radical's still there. Y'all go on ahead.
I just want to say real quick before I forget what you just said. I lean that way. My king wants me to put in the appeal also, but I've done this with these guys, and I recognize my topic is gigantic. They fund, they fuel their military weapons with nuclear. They're doing a whole new campaign to refresh and renew people's opinion of nuclear as clean energy. They don't realize that it's killing everybody. And so that is the fundamental reason why my channel is gone. And so I know by the way that they've always responded when I put an appeal in, and it would be just so obvious that it was their fault. And they paid no attention to me whatsoever. And they actually get a kick, I think, out of it, because it gives them a sense of power. Because I do put the, nail in the coffin where I just say, this is your physiology. This is what you just appealing to the lowest in your nature has brought about on this planet. They do not appreciate that. They want it. Okay, talk about nuclear, but do it in a way that'll bore your people. And do it in a way that won't blame us.
A safe manner.
Yeah, exactly. And there's no way to stop it if we do it that way, because if we don't understand the dynamics, then they'll just keep the whole, house of cards set in place.
See, it's just, I don't know. I still want you to, because, okay, it's like when someone questioned me, they had questioned me when I was on random topics, because some people feel it's been said that I'm an example of hustling backwards. Because I'm a person who was able to get this many views, and now I got, and then I remember a person, and she was sincere in her post. I didn't take any offense to it, although it did kind of hit me a little bit with this female. I'm assuming it's a female. She had posted a lengthy post and was asking, what am I doing up in here? She's like, are you just doing this for journals? Is this like a diary for you? This and that, because people would question me putting things on private. And it kind of, because she said she's been watching me, basically saying that she sees the potential, but feels I might not be utilizing my potential up in here. And of course, there's been times I've been made to feel foolish for not sooner getting my original channel monetized. And YouTube had made offers and stuff for me. But I had to think about it. Yeah, it kind of hurt a little bit reading her post. But I had to think about it. When I came up in here, I loved YouTube because, I came from the message forums and stuff and the message boards. And I started experiencing this whole country club atmosphere, in the message forums. It was like if I talked on certain things, like let's say, me when talking about conspiracies and things such as that, like I talked about Michael Jackson's death and all that. And even though I'm amongst Black people, everything I was saying, was being mocked, and I'm conspiracy nut. Here she goes again. And, so me up in YouTube, and I'm seeing that there was like-minded people, and, I could express myself. News, because I grew up in a house with my mom watching the news all the time, like CNN and all that. And then when I just began to realize just how much was scripted, but then I could find people, just real people, giving me the news from there. But I just totally stopped watching the news, totally stopped watching TV. I used to have to watch WGN News in the morning. I used to have to watch, because I grew up, my mother always Nightline, 2020, this and that, keeping it on MSNBC, CNN, Fox News all day. And so just coming up in here, just hearing things from our perspective, even if I'm talking on music, there's I love the 80s, but then, just hearing a Black perspective on this and a Black perspective, or just hearing the news. And I thought it was YouTube, real you and I, real people, even if we're just doing something silly, like, cats flushing toilets and sharing old music videos. And that's another thing too, them coming at us for the whole copyright thing. They seem to forget one of the things that attracted people to YouTube was old raggedy music videos. What money we gonna make from that? You know what I'm saying? Like when I did my R&B girl group, that was about sharing memories of the 90s and stuff, and guy groups. That was about, I wasn't thinking about making no money from that. I was just, and it took time and me playing around doing the mixes. And that's what I loved about YouTube. And there was a certain time up in here, I was preferring the YouTube documentaries that y'all was giving up in here. Like I always talk about how Lennon Honor, he disappointed me so much, because he used to have some really good slamming, documentaries, like when he talked about Disney. And I'm like, what the hell happened? It's like some of these people, they got a little change. You know, they seeing the money they getting in the super chats or whatever. And so I was determined that's not going to happen with me. It's like, I want y'all, I hate the fact that I didn't take, but it's more about, even if my channel was never monetized. And that's the thing why I do want to see your channel. It's those memories. It's those, you know what I'm saying? When I look back at those comments, you know,
yes,
like
the comments.
Yes.
Me, that's the biggest part. That was terrible.
How I felt when they shared my videos at Egypt Search Reloaded. Like, oh my gosh, I didn't even know they noticed my channel like that. How that made me feel. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, honored, because they didn't know how much I learned from them, you know? Or one of my, you know, and me having my channel back now, and I noticed I take some off private and they just removed all the comments. Like 300 comments, and they just removed it. Why? I don't know. That's memories. So it is like kind of a diary or a journal.
But it's documentation. That's one of the, you know, it's a beautiful feature of our people that we're very humble that way, but we're actually at the front line of today's history in what we do. It shouldn't be undervalued, because Sister Rashid, I appreciate the woman, you know, who left the comment where criticism is a wonderful thing. It helps to build you. You shouldn't just be in a, you know, void that just is your echo. But at the same time, I disagree, because you have a very, very unique analytical voice on here. And you're the only sister that I've seen who's brave enough to have challenged and done the topics that you've done. I know that's why they came after you the way that they did, because you bring such authority in your research and your dedication and in your voice too. It grabs your attention, whether somebody wants to accuse it of what I never heard her as being masculine. I just heard her. I've known lots of sisters.
I've been my voice.
Right.
Yeah, no, but I'm just saying is that it brought a brevity to what you were doing, along with your exacting research and your incredible analysis. And so that's unique. That's not just dime a dozen. And I know that that's one of the reasons why you're just I'll keep the channels there and keep uploading content. But at this point in time, I know you gotta not even know, what can I talk about? What can't I talk about?
Right. And that's the thing too. That's how you know, number one, when someone feels exposed or like they're losing, even though it may seem like they're on top, is because you confront an argument with a counter argument. You don't confront an argument with silencing the other side. The only time that you silence the other side is if you know that you don't have a legitimate counter argument. If you know that you don't have anything legitimate to say to negate what the other person is saying to you, then your only alternative is to try to silence them. And by the way, Graham B, thank you for the super chat. And so I know I just like saying it.
That's a good one. I like that.
I hear you.
But I might add a super chat too.
but yeah, really, that's something that I'm really starting to see now, and it's interesting. You have to refer to something as, you know, when I'm dealing with these alphabet people, or when I'm talking about the joke, and you have to speak in so many freaking codes that you wish that you could time travel back to the day, get some Fruit Loops, and get a secret decoder ring out of it, so that you can figure out what anybody's talking about.
Right, like I gotta say XYZ. That's why I'm kind of iffy on uploading. I'm rendering it now on Jeffrey Dahmer, because I'm going, me using words like HOAX, because I was also going against a white person who believed that didn't happen.
What?
Oh yeah, he's got a video. Yeah, I did this stream like in 2020, because I'm like, and he's leaving. He believes that, okay, don't get me wrong. I listen to some of these white truthers, and some people question me on that. Like, trust me, I know how to eat the meat and spit out the bones. Okay.
Yeah. I listen to the white.
You do have. That's the thing. You do have. That's another thing too. they'll still talk about, let's say, conspiracies, if I may say that. But it's like they have people set up who are safe and they know how far to go, or they just leave you hopeless and there's no hope. They'll talk about, let's say, Fukushima, let's say, but they know how far to go with it. They're gonna leave you hopeless. They're gonna, but or they'll have these people up in here. They sound like, ooh, something for YouTube to fear, but they're not really. They're safe as ever, or either that or they over the top and crazy. Like for instance, okay, like we could talk about the TRANS agenda, right? But you have those ones up in here. They're kind of crazy with it. Like every person, Holly Berry's a man, everybody,
Oh, no.
Yeah, they'll have these crazy purposely set up. Right, exactly.
Right.
By the way, for the record, I'm a man saying that Pam Grier is a woman. I'm telling you.
This man was
I've seen women before. She's a woman.
Yeah,
okay.
Wow. Yeah, like I talked about, he kept posting. That's why I was doing a series of videos at that time, because that's a re-upload. He was adamant and like, oh, that's why she didn't have a child. And I'm like, do you know how insensitive that sound? Because she didn't have a child. And and you'll notice though, these channels don't get messed, they don't get messed with. But he was really adamant. They talk as if they are there. Like, I was probably the first person, like I said, to point that out with Umar Johnson on that panel with Cynthia G. I want to believe that he didn't know. So I'll choose to believe that he didn't know that was a man.
He didn't know.
That's what I'm going to accept. That's what I want to believe. I want to believe. And he was saying beautiful black woman and all this. But I didn't just say, that's a man based on what I suspected.
What you say, Brother Iyapo? What?
No, I was just, if he had known, he wouldn't have been saying all that.
I really don't think so.
Right.
You might be right, because you never know. Because I don't know. The social media now, you never know how much is scripted. But I'll choose. I honestly don't believe that he knew. I believe it was set up and they knew what they were doing. And I was probably the first person to really point that out, because I was like, y'all get that out to. But I didn't just say this based on what I suspected. I just know I said, let me look into this person. I said, let me do at least a little research and look into this person. And sure enough, And
that's the thing. Having that person speak on black woman issues is like having Rachel Dolezal speak on black people's issues. You know what I mean? What are you talking about? Is the multiverse of madness.
And you dare not say that that's not a woman. She was talking as if Hope Gazelle was talking as if she had lived all his life as a woman. Like, he really know the experience of a black female, as if he had a womb, if he could speak on abortion, if he can speak on, you know what I'm saying? The way that and Umar saying you beautiful, these beautiful black women. The way that he was, that just, it's like that was a straight up setup or something.
Well, the way
I want to voice. I'm sorry. I just want to voice my own disagreement, only based on the history of Umar in terms of when he was on the Tucker Carlson Fox show, and he was a deer in the headlights. No, wait, no, that wasn't him. I'm sorry, that was Tariq. But going over,
that was a disappointment.
Yeah, that was that when I saw that, I was like,
why were you disappointed?
Because I believed that Tariq up to then was genuine, but when I saw him blinking like he didn't even, I'm like, Tucker Carlson, you lose to? How's that possible?
Right. That had me so irked. I had to do a video like, wait. And then with the Jared Taylor thing, I was like, wait, he could have said this.
Exactly.
I just speak alive. But I'm just saying, I was like, that's the thing. I was really expecting Tariq to represent,
to be like Malcolm X,
or like Khalid Muhammad out. They used to try to get them on Donahue, and Khalid would just sit there and he would put them. They tried. Oh goodness, he used to shut them down. Khalid Muhammad.
Let me say this. This is a pro tip for everybody on the panel and everybody listening. And Angela knows this. I have a hard, fast rule, and that is that I do not, under any circumstances, argue with someone's fans. I don't do it. I don't do it. I don't do it because they lack any form of objectivity. I don't care how wrong they are. I don't care how much you can prove that they are whatever. If you're talking to someone's fan, you may as well be talking to a freaking tree.
Oh yeah, I learned from Soto Nation.
Right, and so you don't even bother to. Well, I don't even bother to put my energy that way. I will not argue with people's fans. Like if I was to lose my mind, start acting crazy and throw my beautiful, brilliant black wife overboard and marry some blonde white woman and start saying, do you think for one split second AJALI would be trying to figure out a way to Iyapo is bad? No, she'd be like, that brother lost his mind. I'm not talking to him. Maybe I don't know him. I never knew him. And then delete everything that ever had. Don't know, but I'm just saying. And that's one of the things I love about my sister is that I know, and she knows that if either of us was to lose our mind, we would be like, I'm sorry, but this is where we part company. But right now we're dealing with these cults of personality where you have these individuals up here, and somehow, some way, they a part of it is because they've been promoted and they've been given the blowhorn, and they know how to access people's pain, but it's not a new phenomenon. Look at Jonestown. Look at any cult, and you find people who knew how to access people's pain, their anger, their frustration, or whatever, and they know how to access that. It happened on the smaller levels when on the playgrounds and in schools or whatever, and you have a young black girl who's dark skinned, and she may have big lips and a wide nose or whatever, and she's very beautiful, but all her life, because of the culture that we were raised in, she was made to believe that she's ugly. And then there's always going to be one piece of crap guy, at least, who's going to see that, and they're going to hone in on that. Oh, you know what? You're beautiful. No, knowing that they mean the young lady no good, but they see that they're wounded, and then they go after them, and they use that. They speak to that pain, they speak to that hurt, and then they draw them in. And then next thing you know, they're treating her like a dog, and she's defending them. And it works the same way for men too. The same thing happens to us. There's a reason that song says when a man loves a woman. I mean, we just lose our mind, our natural mind, when we fall in love. And then, just like the song said, if she's bad, he can't see it. Everything they do is right. So in terms of these quote unquote YouTube gurus or personalities or whoever, they build these cults of personality, and they're accessing all these people's pain. And the thing is, because of our history in the United States, globally also, but because of our history in the United States, there is so much pain to go around and so much dysfunction to go around that it's like you have millions of people out here just waiting to be scooped up by the system. And you have these Pied Pipers who, for money or fame or both, have zero problem. Some of them are MK Ultra, but have for money or fame or both, have zero problem with leading you down the primrose path to utter destruction.
Yeah, and see that's what I noticed definitely what I've encountered with the spheres, whether we're talking the manosphere, what I would refer to as the woman sphere, and I'm not talking about just a particular YouTuber. I'm just when I say woman sphere, I'm just saying like a counter to the manosphere. And then now I've encountered with what was referred to as the golden sphere. This is a group of they claim that they say it was started by light-skinned blacks actually, and what I've learned some new terms recently. MGM, multi-generational mix. Like they'd see someone like I guess like Lena Horne, who's not exactly biracial, but they call that MGM. And what they say and uh and biracials, no, but they seem to be inclusive of whoever. One thing I noticed they all got in common is an anti-black sentiment. And like I said, I believe like the golden sphere is kind of in between, because you've had those members of the golden sphere who they like following manosphere channels where they're bashing black women, and being that black women, the majority just happen to be brown to black skin. So it's not really just about black. It's about black women, period. Okay. That's just the way. Oh, well, we're not talking about all. That's a way of you could say we're not talking about all black women. It's just an easy way to get around it. And then you have those who may have issues with black men, and the majority happening to be brown to black skin. That's just, what I'm saying, the majority. Of course, that's not all, but that's majority. So then, there are some that may listen, I've noticed, that may listen to like Cynthia G's and all, and of what I would refer to as the woman sphere, and I noticed that. It's no coincidence that I go from talking on the Soda Nation to the Divestors to all of a sudden go to sphere, and it was not set in motion like that. It was like total accident. Me bumping into these like spears. And that's why I say I don't trust when I see spear. I think circle coming from the word circus, ring, redundancy. There's no solutions. If you notice with these channels, like for instance, with the Divestors, and it's doom and gloom. Should you marry black men? Should we give up on black men? It's all doom and gloom. It's about keeping you triggered. And like what you said, Iyapo, they're tapping. See what they're doing, they're tapping into the pain. I found so there's light-skinned people. Okay, you got and even with the channels that work for like for dark-skinned women, like it's sad, but now you're associating. When I used to support some of these channels, i.e. Chrissy, but now you're linking these channels that they're now being connected with the Divestors, the swirlers, which totally goes against. That's the only reason I stopped supporting, Chrissy and stuff, because I used to actually support her channel and she was very supportive of me. I still don't speak ill of her because, she showed me nothing but respect. But it's being, so it's like they're tapping into. So of course there's somebody, well, there's got to be another side, light skin. So, they're tapping into whatever group, So there's got to, and like I said, with the whole idea of the spears, it's about redundancy. It's about being triggered. I notice a lot of these channels, they want to keep you triggered. I use Cynthia G as that ultimate example, but of not comforting you, not defending you as black women. Like I have to ask, do you ever, that's why you notice with these Divestors, you don't feel any sisterly love or bond. They argue with each other like crazy. Like I remember when I was going to expose everything on Sunday, I don't have to expose, they exposing each other. And it's the same thing with the Golden Sphere. It's the same thing. You'll see them arguing more with each other because it was never about love, and they trauma bonding. Now I understand sometimes you do come together. I've met certain people, and in certain, like me being in a group home and stuff as a teenager, you're gonna meet people under certain circumstances. You may meet somebody, but usually that should not be what unites you. And then they find out that's the only thing that they got in common. They got issues with black women. The only thing, look at how with the men, with the so-called manosphere, how much Tommy has been more brutal towards other black men. I have seen where he will get their jobs, and look at what's happened with him. He has went as far as having people call their jobs, as far as he went. But he supposedly, remember when he was supposedly representing Black Boy Magic? And if you understand what's really behind that, like I exposed with Hugh Hefner and the whole Black Boy Magic thing. That's why I tell these females, beware of the black girl magic and look at the symbology. Look close at this stuff. Because what we think is, oh, it's pro black woman. I'm telling you, a lot of this stuff is deceptive. There are certain things I used to fall for. Like I said, look at the symbology that a lot of I pay attention to all of that. And see, so they're tapping into this group. Like yeah, like I said, I haven't had what is considered this light-skinned girl experience. Okay, so I said to myself, maybe I am being insensitive to other fellow light-skinned sisters just because I haven't experienced that. Okay, maybe so. Maybe there's some truth. Maybe I'm being somewhat insensitive. But then I see with a lot of the persons, they didn't even actually have actual stories to tell. Like, y'all are living vicariously through people who actually have, let's say, been bullied, actually have it. And I see what the heck is going on. People just want somewhere to come together, congregate where they can spew angst. But how long you gonna do that? It's just like I was saying with the, like, if you check out, it's just okay. Like with that, who they choose. Like I said, we know that there are black men who be getting with these overweight, unattractive white, but then they'll talk about Big Shirley. I know about that. But let's say, why would I keep showing you that over? Why would I want to keep you triggered and upset? If I know, let's say because most black women, we want black men. It's natural. So if I know that you love this person, like my best friend, I'm not going to keep showing. Okay, I may show my best friend, okay, at first so she know he's cheating, But why would I keep coming back to her showing her, okay, I saw him with another woman and I saw him with another. Why I want to keep you triggered? Why would I want to keep? I understand keeping us aware, us talking about black femicide. What they referring to as femicide. Yeah, attention need to be brought to that. But why am I trying to keep you triggered and angry all the time? Keeping you mad. Like it was a sister I used to support her, Miss Archduchess, but she had this series. Oh, forgive me, I'm sorry, I'm almost done. But she had this series, Who They Really Choose, right? And then she used to be subscribed to me because there's a lot of sisters up in here. And it's sad because I used to really like these sisters. And we used to support each other's channel, like Miss Archduchess. But she had this series, Molly, You in Danger Girl. And she was showing all these clips of black women being physically abused. And I'm not saying that attention shouldn't be brought to this. I'm not saying it. But I remember I was watching the series and like they showed this African woman getting horribly beaten. You hearing her screams. And I was getting mad and fear where I was cutting my eyes at my husband, like just feeling heat. And then I realized this ain't healthy. This is, I know that we need to bring attention to this, but this is making me feel a way that ain't good. When I'm now, I was like looking at my husband just, getting heated and stuff. And that's when I realized we can't have too much of this. There's no balance. Where's the balance? You know what I'm saying? There's like no hope with these channels. But yeah, I'm sorry. I'm just going on.
Yeah, I want to say this. First off, the Radical Sister, thank you for the super chat. And if you take this thing to its logical end, because there are two contradictions, two like glaring contradictions when it comes to the manosphere and the womansphere, and it's this. I'll use the manosphere since I'm a man. Okay, I'm a black man, dude. If you want to go and divest, then go. And I mean, and I don't even mean you any ill will. I'm just like, go. What would it look like if me as being divorced, or Angela who as having been divorced also, if every day she was talking about her ex, or every day I'm talking about my ex, it makes zero sense. If you don't care about me, or I don't care about you, then just go on about your business. Then go and be with your white prince or princess, or whether go. Go. Why sit and talk about it every day? that makes I can't. There's no way. As I'm, a lot of people are saying,
circle
you can't.
redundancy.
Right. You can't make it make sense. And the only thing that I can figure when I hear people in those spaces, all that I'm hearing with my sane ear is, you're mad because that's who you want, and you're mad because if you didn't want it, you wouldn't want it. In other words, I don't sit around all day talking about okra, looking for okra, talking about how nasty okra is. I just don't mess with that slimy mess, and that's it. And that's it. I don't have to keep making a point of it every day. I don't have to keep talking about it every day, and so on. So
it's to keep you triggered, though. That's the thing. They want you to stay on edge. They don't want you to relax. They want you to stay triggered. It's also part of an agenda. It's not even
excuse me for stepping over you, but that part of it I understand. I understand that from the standpoint of the people who are at the top, because it's like a pyramid scheme. The people at the top get all the money and whatever, and the people as it goes to the bottom are getting nothing. And I understand it from the standpoint of the people at the top who are pushing it, but the people who are caught up in it, and I agree with you, Lashid, is that's their goal, is to keep you triggered. And it's just like, and let's take it into another arena, because the same thing happens when one of our people are gunned down, when one of our people are, somebody calls them because they're just existing or doing something while Black. That's a way to keep our people constantly triggered. And next thing you know, we some of the marchingest folk on the planet. It's a wonder that no wonder we spend so much on tennis shoes, because we always freaking marching. We just wear out the soles of our shoes marching all the time and protesting, and that's because we stay triggered, because they stay doing stuff to keep us triggered, and so that we can't get our minds clear enough to leave the system, to walk away from their system.
Can I I want to just interject, because the swirlers and the divestors, that was a real big portion of what I spoke about. And I did so initially because I was trying to attack the narrative that we're the worst people on the planet, and they're so vocal about using that as an excuse. At this point in time, though, I have to say, even I've become bored speaking about them, even though there's been plenty of them still dying at the hands of their little mini god. But their issues become boring. However, I do recognize, because we do not have sovereignty over the world's perception of us, and they don't need us to transform into silly Porter. They need the world to think that we're all silly Porter. They need the world to think that we're all trying to think of some of these like Viola Davis or whatever. They need the world to perceive us that way. And so in certain circumstances, I think it is because the devil never stops his hunt against us, and it's artificial. We still have to keep, a hook out there for those who might have fallen for the propaganda, but are earnest in their want of the truth. And so once they hear it, they're not going to, turn away from it. And Sister Lashid, what you were saying, I think some of these people are so abrasive with each other is because they're trying to justify evil doing. And there's no way to do that unless you yourself are empty on the inside. And empty people are very narcissistic. They don't know how to get along with people, because people being other than, they have no real moral compass to tell them, okay, this is the right thing to do. I don't care who thinks what about what I'm doing. I know it's right. They're doing it for whole other reasons. And thereby, when they run across anyone else, they're not trying to interact with them. They're trying to impose their own fear, their own insignificance on that person to justify their own emptiness and desperate actions that they take. So I think that when you go to, even though here we are, we don't all agree on anything, and I would never call us a sphere of anything other than we enjoy each other's company and we know how to interact sanely and listen to one another. But that's because we're each very committed to doing the best that we can. That's a huge difference.
I want to say this, and this, I'm not trying to like embarrass anybody or call anybody else on the chat or on the panel, but Gwen B, you got to let somebody else get in here and speak. You know, we're I'm trying to give everybody equal time. Please, just let somebody else talk.
I know, Gwen.
I promise I'll give you the mic back, but you gotta let somebody else. You gotta let somebody else in at least every now and again.
Also,
thank you for the super chat.
And greetings to Brother Info Man. I don't know if he's still here.
Did he come in?
And he donated like $50. And greetings to also Brother JB.
Oh, JB.
And I think I missed somebody, but I just wanted to acknowledge those people who were here.
Peace. Well, I'm trying to be a good, because I said Brother Wally was a good moderator. I meant to say mediator. And like I said,
that's funny.
Excellent mediator. Brother Omawale, he has part 3 of the video of his live stream coming up on this Sunday. You might want to watch the 2 before it. And I just really like the way that he handles the group, and he's very measured. And he does it. Brother Omawale Africa. I'll put his link again in the chat so you can subscribe to him. But I admire the brother. He's a younger brother. He's younger than me, and he makes documentaries and so on. But it's very difficult to trigger him. And there's times that he'll have people on the panel that are like in diametric opposition to what he's talking about, and they'll be getting very emotional. And he is just so level. And he really tries to give everybody equal time. So I'm trying to learn from that. And that's why, like I said, Gwen B, I wasn't trying to shut you down, but you got to let somebody else get in so that they can say something.
Okay. Here's what I was doing was putting in the
links
the links to some of the YouTube searches where there's porn, real living XXX porn on YouTube. Okay, so I put 2 links where you type in, like I just typed in the search on the search window on YouTube. I said porn, and then all these videos came up, and I put the link in there for y'all to pull those up in the chat. The point is that YouTube is playing games with Black us about community guidelines. They don't mean them. They're only enforcing them on us. Okay.
Right.
And we have tiny little channels. We don't have millions of subscribers. We got tiny channels. And for them to go through all of that for our tiny channels mean that we must be making some kind of an impact beyond our even knowledge, okay? They are trying to pull the rug out from under us. 2 things with that is, A, they have told you they want to pull the rug out from under you. So get ready to have your plan B. And 2 is that they do want to pull the rug out from under you, so we must be doing something. That's the 2 things, and that's it. That's all. That's all I needed. That's all I have to say.
Oh my God! I just went to the link, and I'm horrified.
Which one? I don't even know if I want to.
I'm afraid that's gonna be
You
Yeah,
don't
that's
want
going
to
to
go.
be now your recommends. That's all. I'm kind of afraid.
Okay, so
Because they
I'm
connect.
looking at Sister AJALI's face. That's what I'm talking about. Okay, do you see that
Wow,
stuff
it's
on
like
there?
that.
I see, and I'm going to put this in my appeal. But not that they'll
Wow,
care,
it's like
but
that.
wow.
Do
It's
you
just
know
like
how
me. Put
many
that. Put the link
strikes
to
I've received? How many strikes I've received?
Wow.
Yes.
And they've told me, okay, I've harassment and bullying. When I did a video
Oh,
talking about Marina Abramovic and part, it was called, I didn't even talk in this video. It was like a video where I'm showing you stuff and I had words typed or whatever. It was parties of the elite. They gave me a strike talking about harassment and bullying. Now, this was a little, my channel is very, very small. You know, do you honestly think now who was I like I had to follow up with a video, who am I harassing and bullying? Do you honestly, what did the Kardashians complain? Did Marina Abramovic, or was it the fact that I was to mention certain politicians being mentioned? You know, yeah, who am I harassing and bullying? This was, I could have even understood if it was copyright. Like they say, they could say I took footage from their parties. I was showing how they had these human cadavers and stuff, but I made sure to blur so nothing too gross was seen or anything like that, or too disturbing. So I made sure to blur and everything. And you know, and I was talking also on Adreno, but it was actually, I wasn't even talking in the video. And I talked, you know, compared with the movie Death Becomes and everything. But who was it? Now, who is it that I was bullying and harassing?
That's
Please
all
tell
a
me.
part
So
of the
they're
game.
protecting Satanists, basically. They're protecting, and it's not even like they were like I even questioned this whole thing with Cardi B versus Tasha K. Just something ain't. I think they're trying to scare us. Now, I'm not saying that I support anybody who's lying, and if they knowing that they lying on somebody, like she admitted, supposedly she admitted that she lied about her prostituteness. Like she knew she was being deceptive, not just something she suspected, but she knew she was being deceptive. But I think that might have been something set up so it can make us afraid. Like if you do expose, you know, they try to make you feel, oh, you're doxing this. But now some people do need to be exposed. Now, I'm not saying you argue with somebody, put their address out there just because you don't like them. You know, I'm not saying that. But there are some people, you know, like let's say if you do suspect that this politician may be involved in child sex trafficking. Now, I understand these accusations can be strong, but I think they're trying to get people to a point where you're afraid to even, you know, your suspicions, you know, like you're afraid to, now, yeah, we gotta understand celebrities are people too. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. They're people too. Like I try to with Kwame Brown, for instance. I try to, you know, I can't really follow because I thought he was cool, relatable, but it's just too much beefing going on around his circle, you know. And I try to, you know, like when he's talking on Trading Code and just the fact he's funny and all of that and somewhat related. I it seems as if he don't want people to see him as a celebrity. There may be those who are sincere, but at the, you know, but you know, I'm not saying that. I mean, you're gonna have tabloid gossip and this, that. Now, if I'm talking about something, it's something that really concerns me. I'm not just going to throw an accusation. You know, but come on, these Hollywood needs to be exposed. You know what I'm saying? But they're trying to come at us. I think that they may be using this as an example. So even if you suspect, let's say that this person may be a pedophile, you might get sued for you know, $2 million or something like that. Or, you know, or somebody may try to sue you or try to, you know, I think they're trying to make us afraid. And that was the great thing about YouTube. I'm not saying I came up in here for celebrity gossip, but like when I would see videos, you know, exposing things, for instance, on Disney that I might not have known about, you know. And I think they just want us to a point, and I'm not saying that I'm just about exposing and stuff up in here, but when something and consider my life is very intricate, and there are things that happen in my family, like with the death of my brother and stuff under police custody, and I think that, you know, something, you don't give a person an autopsy in less than 24 hours, you know, the way that we were told that he was found dead in his prison cell and everything. So I definitely question, you know, something, you know, like when we talk about Oregon, well, you know, I don't want to make this stream to using certain words that the bots may pick up on, But so I'm passionate about certain things. I'm passionate about our people being framed or certain conspiracies against our people. I talk about these things for a reason. It's not just with me. It's not just gossip.
I apologize. I need to break in real quick. Breaking news. I just looked up melanin on Amazon. Melanin is at number 18.
You lying? Oh my god!
Black sci-fi.
What?
For real?
Number 18.
That is magnificent.
I can show you. I got it open right now. I got the I got the page open right now.
I'll put this straight up on blast.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Wow. Congratulations.
Oh yes, that's beautiful.
Thank you.
Wow.
I'm gonna mute myself. JB, thank you for the super chat.
It's cool that you're talking about, like when you talk about the basic types of melanin, eumelanin, pheomelanin, and neuromelanin. It's really cool that like these are things like with what I had discussed on the Ancient Egypt series. And I'm kind of fascinated. I don't know. Some people think that this just goes to show that there are people who are interested, like just like there are blacks who are into well, I don't want to say, because there are those who think that we aren't into sci-fi. I never was into sci-fi. Now
I'm big into it. I didn't know people didn't think we were. I always thought that we were.
There are people who think that we're not in. My sister-in-law, she loves sci-fi. I love nonfiction. I like nonfiction. Just like I love with films, I love documentaries. I love things on history. My sister-in-law, she loves, and my best friend, they love sci-fi. And
I don't want nothing too mature, so I don't do dramas and stuff like that because that's just too mature for me. But I love science fiction, action, fantasy, and all that stuff, and animation and all that.
Really?
Yeah.
I love animation.
I got it bad. I got a subscription to Crunchyroll and High Dive, and I used to have a subscription to Funimation until they went out. So I got it, and I've had it for years.
I remember Funimation. Oh my gosh.
Oh yes. Oh
my
yes.
best friend. Now she was a Trekkie. She was
I do Trek.
Like I was saying in defense of Sister Radical, like somebody was trying to say nobody wants to hear it. This was recently when I was talking about with a channel. I'm like, well, obviously 20,000 people. She had over 20,000 people subscribed to her channel, and she'd been talking on that from the jump. From day one, she'd been talking on that. So that's a lot.
And they locked her in at 20,000 or so. They locked that at 20,000.
Yeah. She had reached that 20,000 a while ago. Okay.
Yeah, it was going up at a nice rate, and then they locked it at 20,000.
And this new little channel, I noticed that you would figure people would be coming in, even with it having like 140 subscribers. They still will, for every 5 will come in, they'll take 3 more.
Okay.
Wow.
I believe you.
Just real quick, Avery, there's no real super chat. I just like saying that because I hear people say it all the time.
The way it's showing appreciation.
Hey, Marge.
That's funny.
And Marjorie Lightsey Jones, thank you for the super chat.
I watched Samurai Champloo and Cowboy Bebop. One of my favorite songs is the ending theme of Cowboy Bebop.
Oh wow!
And Samurai Champloo was too funny. I love them.
See, and that's what I loved. That was the great thing about social media. You found, because I used to feel I was kind of geeky on certain.
No,
but finding people that are interested, fascinated, like, you know what I'm saying. And now I told Sister Radical initially with her channel, I'm not gonna lie, and I went on and had admitted to her initially, even though I liked her channel, what she was talking about, and I subscribed, I would be scared because this was my first time hearing anything about that, like what she talks about on Fukushima in particular. And I was a horror film. I used to love horror films before I stopped watching them, learning more about the Bible and stuff. But I always felt the scariest horror films was when there was a plague or something you can't control, like something put in the water, in the air. I always felt that those were the scariest types of horror films, like with the plague.
Mm-hmm.
When you feel,
That's
I
just the
noticed
devil
that where
confessing.
everybody be wiped out and only
Yeah.
like 5 people survive, and they were always white. You know, whenever they'd have those
Or a
movies with a
coon.
plague and
You might
only
have a coon in there.
and nothing, I'm not afraid as I was, because when you get more faith and you have more, but that used to actually, the idea, because I remember when I was first hearing that our waters can be, it was a guy I actually broke up with back in the 90s, because he used to swear up and down that when the cryptosporidium hit Milwaukee waters, and who would have thought I would become the conspiracy nut? But this guy, he really felt that when the cryptosporidium hit Milwaukee waters in the 90s, and I was affected by it too, he felt it was put in the water. And then he was like noticing certain neighborhoods that would target, that he,
You probably owe him an apology.
Yeah, I know. But see, I remember, he said he wouldn't go to the doctor. He was one of those types of brothers.
You gotta find him and give him an apology.
I totally trusted the doctor, because I'm like, I can't talk to you. You don't go to the doctor. Yeah, but he was like suspecting everything. Like, why do they be drilling in the street? There's nothing wrong with the roads.
Give him our channel. Find him and give him our channel. He's right up our alley.
That's very true. Well, in response, Lashid,
excuse me real quick.
Okay.
Because I've been seeing warrior status in here for a long time, and nobody has spoken. And I don't like to.
Oh, hi, warrior status.
I say hi to him. We say hi to him.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I didn't say anything, and then I kind of went backwards. I was like, warrior status been in here for a while.
I think.
So peace to you. I just didn't want you to think I was ignoring you.
And Marjorie Lightsey Jones.
I called myself speaking to you. If I didn't, I'm sorry, but I did. I could have sworn I spoke to you, but my brain don't work.
So welcome.
Your brain doesn't work.
Peace
We're all in trouble.
you in the chat, and those listening.
Right, I'm getting ready to put this screenshot on blast, so y'all go on and talk.
Well, I do have to address what you're saying, Sister Leshy, because that's like really critical to everything that I'm fighting against. Right. Is our fear, because I bring cures. If you anyone who is afraid to hear what I'm talking about, you can't avoid it on your damn plate. You can't avoid it. So it's like knowing you've got a large tuberance on the side about the size of a grapefruit, and you refuse to go and get it checked out because you're just hoping one day you'll wake up and it'll go away. No, this is not going to go away. And it's our responsibility as parents, as grandparents, as the first start of any future coming, to look at it bravely and strongly, because the big thing I found in looking at it is that there are cures and there are remedies. And that's why they don't want anybody talking about it. Because folks, and there would be a fulcrum. It's terrible that I'm the only person examining it to the depth that I do, because it weakens our awareness. Because everybody could just say, oh no, that's just something radical sister does. No, do you eat? Do you eat? Then it's something you're doing too, but only you're doing it passively and as a victim. And so for me to find those cures, I'm so glad. I don't know what it is in me that made me just say, I can't stop. I can't stop. Even if nobody will listen, if nobody understands, I have to find those cures. And I found so many little attacks that aren't little, because they're going to destroy people because of my diligence, that I'm grateful for that. And so, there's not too much that I could say. I write my books. I have to say, because it's just true, and it is what it is that our amazing brother who put Fukushima in his book, brother Iyapo, his book is at 18. Mine's are at like 204, 5,000, and I think the other one's a little bit higher at about 3,800. So no one's buying my books. And I'm like, you know what? And so that's why I was so incredibly appreciative of Sister Gwen when you did that share. It's like you resuscitated me, because I was just like, I need to make a living also on top of trying to build so that we could get our food tested. And I'm committed to doing that myself, because I don't trust these people to do it for me. I like your ex-boyfriend. And so, yes, it's something where I'm like, okay, I just got to stick with it no matter what the outcome is, because we just are of this opinion that everybody up here is phony. And that's why they set up, that's why for me, Umar is really suspect, because it made no sense with this school to have $1 million and you really can't get it together. You don't need to have a big giant freaking building. You can have
do you think that it could be a Garvey thing? Now, I'm not saying that I totally, because we have different spiritual beliefs, we have different, but I'm wondering, was it a thing you think he just didn't calculate things, or sabotage, like with Marcus Garvey and the attempt he made? Now, I know he's not Marcus Garvey now, because I think that, I don't know. It just,
I think it's a combination of things. I think it's a combination of things, but I blame mostly the people that are around him, that he has around him, because I think they could have guided him to make a real effort, because the school that he describes is a utopian Black school. There's nothing wrong with what he's describing, and there's nothing wrong with the speeches. There's something wrong that's inside of him that I think he needs to get under control, because he's got a weakness. I think it's in part because he was raised without a father on there somewhere, because he reacts emotionally to issues in a way that he shouldn't. That's the only
problem I have with him.
And I think that's, but when I look at Black men that are only raised by women, they don't have the same reaction to the men that were raised with a father. And I just watch them. I watch how I compare. That's what I look at. I think that's part of it. He wasn't prepared. And I think that the people around him aren't watching his back like they should. Like, they never should have let him get on that show with that transsexual person without him knowing it, but they weren't watching his back. And I think he's kind of stubborn and following his dream, that he thinks he believes it blindly without taking precautions. When you are following your dream, you also have to keep looking around. You got to look forward, but you got to look around too. And he hasn't got the people around him that should have been watching his back. And that's I think was one of the biggest problems. The people around you can help you be greater. And he could be great, but he don't have the right people around him.
I ain't gonna lie, he's a hell of a speaker.
Yes, everything about what he speaks is wonderful.
But then what had disappointed me with him when I first got disappointed, now I overlooked the whole thing with the woman that was, he's a man. I'm not saying that makes it okay.
The conscious stripper. I threw that away. I threw that away.
Obviously, that was a setup. But,
that didn't bother me at all.
Yeah, that's just you sinning. That's between you, and being that he don't really follow the Bible, that's just you commit an act of fornication. Okay.
And I don't have a problem with that. I never expected him to do anything else.
If she was married, he was married. That's between you and the Most High. Okay, I understand, but people were like, oh, well, he preached celibacy and all that. I was like, I get that. But the thing is, that's why, I don't know, just, the Catholic preaching that celibacy.
He preached responsibility.
I just want to add in, though, you about pro-Blackness, then the first important section of that is your own family.
That's true.
And to be dallying with a stripper, and then you're going to come out with, I don't know, did he come out with
she came up, she came around, she didn't come off, or he didn't know she was a stripper. If you look at the picture of him and her, she's dressed modestly, but you can see she has like a real nice shape though, but almost like it was set up to, she has like her hair natural and a puff ball.
And that's why she got the term conscious sister.
That's right. Outside of the fact that when you would go to his website, it was Umar Festival. Everywhere. It was all about him. And that, can be speak of just a narcissistic sort of egotism. But when I see that, I just sort of think, well, why do you need to pivot everything towards yourself? And you are such a brilliant speaker.
Yes, he is.
And so, and then when he did that one thing with the eyeball, where he was, you know, and I know people say, but he has a cocaine problem. I'm like, this guy's got so many excuses.
What did he do with alcohol?
After he did this on camera thing where, you know, like he also did the thing where suddenly he has a hoarder's house in the back.
What?
And he just accidentally, his phone flipped around, the camera.
Oh, where his house is messy.
And that reminds me of the other one who just unfortunately passed. And so I won't mention his name because I was completely like looking at him and saying, this guy's full of crap.
KS.
No, yeah, right. That's as much as I'll say. But anyway, yeah, I just looked at that. And then I also think about Alex Jones, where all of a sudden his phone flipped and there's a tranny that he's subscribed to. And I'm like, no, they're too many. It's a tumult.
Yeah, too many
when
glitches.
You have regular human behavior. People make mistakes. I've made them. But at the same time, it's not a tumult. It's not a constant, and then it keeps getting worse.
I think it's like what you said. That was a sign he needed a woman. That was the problem.
Whether he needed a woman, how old is this dude? How
right,
old is
right,
he?
exactly.
I think he's in his 40s.
Yes, and you've never been married.
Yeah,
that's suspect to me. That says it's all about you. And when you have people with that kind of mentality, they're dangerous to our rise. I don't know how, what, or where, but I'm the person who's going to say, no, there's just too many coincidences and too many excuses.
Yeah, it may be what Gwen is saying too, because I'm going to say, I used to be involved with guys who were, you would see as militant Black activists also in the 90s. And this is one thing I did notice. A lot of them that ain't quite necessarily, at least in my age group, may have been different with baby boomers and stuff, weren't quite marriage minded. Like there was this one, you know, I had a big crush on.
But he claims he's looking though.
You know, I think it may be some of what Gwen is saying, you know, with because that was the only thing, the thing that turned me off with Umar when I first heard him responding to Sarah Sutton. Well, even, you know, even though I don't follow a lot of that comedic talk as a Bible believer, I still don't like, because that shocked me. He sounded like a thug. It was like
and he was talking person. And everybody could tell that he wasn't even talking on his phone.
Yeah, it was just,
you know,
and I'm surprised he even left that in there. He didn't even cut that out.
Yes,
he didn't. No, that's stupid.
Yeah, no,
so he think we stupid.
Yeah.
Okay.
He winds up being a vent for all of us because I loved him. I don't want to give the impression that I didn't love him.
Makes it hard.
But he just is crashing and burning, and with him, so our hopes and dreams go down a little bit, and we wind up distrusting each other, and that's the point. That's the goal.
Okay, I give you that. Yeah.
Yeah,
that's what happened.
Deep down, I know you're making sense. Deep down, what you're saying. Yeah, I think what I'm going against is the idea: is he purposely being deceptive? Was he an agent? You know what I'm saying? Because
I don't think he knows that. I don't think.
I don't think he's an agent. Like some people now, there are some people I believe they are hustlers, but then you could be an agent of Satan and don't even realize it.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah, and then some people,
is too much.
I feel like straight up, like the Tommies and Cynthia, those are the two ultimate examples I give. They some plants up in here. They some plants, knowing they know that they're being deceptive. You know, like with Umar, I kind of concerned because I kind of felt like, could people be driving them crazy? I guess I feel for if I feel
they driving them crazy too.
Yeah, that's what I think too. Is he being driven? You know, and
can you see Malcolm X being driven crazy? I just think that it's a little bit. I wish I had the clip of him where he's in some Home Depot or something, and all of a sudden he's like going up with the camera with the one eye, like he's lost his friggin' mind. And I'm like, even crazy people don't act like that. Even crazy people aren't that obvious about it. So I looked at that. I said, he's acting right now. That's not real. I hope you guys are right. But I'm just saying, there's a lot of folks up here who I sensed long before anybody else did that they were going to do a flip. And they
you're right on it with that.
Yeah,
I don't know how you figure that out.
Right.
Yeah. But yeah, you have been accurate.
Some things that are just natural human behavior and they're just mistakes. But when it's an avalanche, it's like, when do you start doing right? When do you suddenly get back to the Umar? Why is the Umar we used to know way back then gone?
Okay. Okay. Because I do have to concede that you do be picking up on some stuff faster than I do. Because you picked up on
We don't.
CG way before I did.
And I picked up on her late. There were a lot of people who picked up on her before, but there were certain people who
I
I could
remember when
tell
people were
just
trying
by,
to
I
tell
won't say
me.
the names because we don't need to all the time, but there was one who used to say, and I'll just say it the way that she said it, she kept calling black men fuck boys. And as soon
Oh.
as I heard that, I
Wow.
said, if you are
Who was
for
that?
us,
Or,
Chrissy.
oh,
I didn't want to say
really?
yes. That at the beginning, I was going to her when what's his name who used to
Lord.
talk about Sergeant Willie P.
Yeah.
Yeah, he used to talk about it a lot, and I went over and I was like, "Oh, she's pro-black. That's a beautiful thing." And I wanted to listen to her, and then she kept saying, when you're in the hood and
I
you got
never
all
picked
them
that
fuck
up.
boys. I was like, "What? Why you keep saying that?"
I never picked up on. I never heard that. That's something.
Yeah, I listened to her a lot.
Yeah, because she's one I still don't want to speak because like when people are I felt people were trying to get me to not like her. Oh, well, she has what do you think about her having an all dark skinned women magazine? And I'm like, why would that bother me?
That wouldn't bother me.
Exactly, they were trying everything, and I just know like when
either.
she had seen me in the chat room. Now this is back when I was subscribed to her channel before she did the flip and all that. She was like right away, oh, that's the she for you. Subscribe to her channel. I was like, oh, that was nice of her. She didn't have to, and it's not just the thing, oh, she was kissing my behind, but I really did like her channel.
Well,
and
she was
it
kissing
was
her behind.
huh?
Okay, because in her magazine, she started promoting swirling. I did a whole
I never checked
share.
out her, because it just wasn't for me, her magazine. But
but I'm saying that's what it was, and I documented it, and I did a share on my other channels that they've now removed, so the proof is gone. But I saved it. Yes, in her magazines, she said, black woman, and I'm paraphrasing, but the whole general assumption is that the black community did not support her. Even though black men were the ones who were primarily giving her startup money for her magazine.
Yeah, I learned about it through Sergeant Willie P. Not saying that I regularly follow his channel, but I've been in here for a while, so I know these YouTubers.
But I'm just saying, I'm not making this stuff up. Just like you had mentioned, there was a young lady who was questioning how you were speaking about some particular person, and you said, I know things that you don't know about that person. If you weren't there to hear her use that F-boy term again and again and again, if you didn't read, because I read the actual article in her magazine that was saying that black women should just, it's okay, you're a little big or whatever, you should make the best move and date out of our race, and that black men weren't supporting her. Yes. That's why I did my shares where I was just like, Chrissy is a traitor.
Yeah, I never followed like beyond the YouTubes that I was, because I understood, there's a time some things are somewhat exclusive. Now it is true, like Rashida Stover stated, she didn't start off.
I never did get in there. I never did listen to her or watch her.
Yeah, it is true. Okay, believe it or not, Chrissy, people don't believe this because a lot of these females I used to be really cool with. She was being referred to the first time I heard that term, Mammy Mule. The swirlers did not like her at all. They didn't like her at all. And I didn't see what was wrong with her because she seemed
either at the beginning.
Yeah, they sure didn't.
So.
They saw now with Chrissy, they saw her as kind of, and she never came off as mean to me, They saw her as, I think, finger waggy at black women. I think they felt, and I was like, she's not saying something I disagree with. Yeah, we do need to lose weight. Yeah, even if she's talking about me too. I didn't see what she was saying that was so bad. I think that she was maybe because they saw her linked also with Sergeant Willie P. I know that's hard to say, and he is. When I came up in here before Tommy, he was the one notorious for the critical, videos. I don't think he was like a plant or an agent. I think he was just a bitter individual, but they tapped into that market, if you will, or that demographic who liked hearing that stuff. But before Tommy and a lot of the Kevin Samuels, it was Sergeant Willie Pete when I came up in here. And he would make good points, but then it was like, okay, there's just too much of this critical of black. Yeah, you kind of going a little with the whole, okay, I get it. You don't like weaves. At first I took it as, oh, maybe they want to see us with our natural hair. But then it was like, after a while, like, okay, why ain't you focusing more on what you like? You know what I'm saying? You're focusing on what you don't like, the weaves and stuff a little too much. And
I
then,
picked up on Tommy the first time I watched him.
oh, Tommy. I don't know how anybody could have been fooled by him. I really don't. Him from the jump. I could see with Sergeant Willie P, because he has made some
and I
good,
don't know about
and I really don't think that he was necessarily an agent. I just think that he was somebody, but it's obvious it was bitterness. It's not just coming from love with Sergeant Willie P. Because even with black people, black men, he is extremely critical. Because you have these black people, there are those, and don't get me wrong, a lot of black people have, my family moved to the suburbs and stuff. I really do think that you got those. I did a video talk, I called it conscious coons. Excuse me for using that term. But there are those like Chris Rock and, you know, let's say they went to this school, and it's like their embarrassment of black people kind of, it outweighs their love for black people. And deep down, they're more concerned on how white people see us. You know what I mean? Even if they're not necessarily. So it was when there's so much of this. Some people have accused Bill Cosby of this, but when there's so much of this finger wagging and then not necessarily what I would say exactly what we would see is, you know, but they talk as if they mean well for black people. And they may even talk on a pro-black tip, but all they do, they're just so critical that you barely feel any love. And deep down, like Aaron Magruder is a perfect example of what I used in that video. He, with the Boondocks, I started feeling uncomfortable with that show. I didn't feel right with it. Lennon Honor kind of became that way to me. Where your finger waggy and it's a little bit too much, you know what I'm saying? I could
listen to me and I'm gonna save all of you.
And it's like you're not feeling the love no more. Like, you know, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that we gotta have people, oh, po baby, oh, you know. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. Sometimes we do, like I do, even though I'm not with the Nation Islam. I will say, I like the way when the men be, you know, like for instance, like Farrakhan, the way that they do it is like they'll be when you got, you know what I'm saying, but they know how to do it, like in addressing the men. They know. I like the manner in which they do it. You know what I'm saying? Because you do still feel love, but they ain't gonna sugarcoat nothing. They gonna tell you and they know also the men know to address men. You know what I'm saying? They know first and foremost to address men as the head of the household, this and that. You know what I'm saying? But there's still a brotherly kind of, I like that example that they like set, you know, because don't get me wrong, I like hearing people that's passionate. Like I joke about how I miss hearing my mama cuss me out sometimes. Sometimes I'm not saying, you know, I ain't saying you got to cuss somebody out, but when I like people that's passionate. I don't want nobody just talking to me like, because then you got these people, they just sound so fake and they're trying too hard to sound sisterly and they sound fake, and you know, but with Chrissy, it was just because I was like, that was really cool that she's giving me a shout out. She don't have to do that. And so when the whole thing with Rashida Strober and her, I was like, oh, because I like both of them. And so I would be trying to hint to, but Rashida's kind of stubborn. I love her, but she kind of stubborn. So I'd be like, do you gotta, maybe you shouldn't say this about Chrissy. Maybe you shouldn't.
Well, you know what? I really admire Rashida Strober.
She gonna stand her ground
because she's gonna stand and she calls things out. And you know where she stands. You don't have to guess. Exactly. And I really appreciate that in her. And as far as Chrissy being really nice to you, you know, that's a wonderful thing. And I'm not saying whether she did it on purpose or she didn't do it on purpose, but I know that it has a reverberation years later where it's harder for a person, if someone's been nice to you and you see them in that way, and you have that right. I don't want to take that away from you. Your defense of her and you're just questioning. This is something you'll have to find out for yourself, but I doubt you'll be able to because these were old shares. But at the same time, now when you go to her channel, I understand. I don't know. I don't go there.
Yeah, I
What spoilers up
unsubscribed
there?
a while ago. It was what got me, because I remember when you had brought attention to her having Crystalline Kerosene, and it wasn't so much having Crystalline Kerosene, but I think they went. It didn't have to go so far. Well, talking about the phallus, and it could be said that a black man's phallus is the color of. I'm like, really? You got to go that far?
Wow.
Yeah. And then
wow.
it was, she had shared an ad. It was like promotion. Okay. What she sees as correct promotion of dark-skinned black women. And usually, I have nothing against that, but it had showed an interracial couple getting married. And that, and she had never. So even when people would try to tell me, she hates, and I'm like, no, she just may not be totally against interracial. I was making every excuse in the book, okay? Because I liked her channel and I liked her. So I was making every excuse in the book. But then it was like, but I was like, no, she don't hate black, because I didn't see her as promoting interracial. There's some people, they may not see it, let's say, as a sin or as anything wrong. And I'm not necessarily against that as long as there are people who in the
I'm
one of them people. Okay, like you could be in the natural hair community. Like there's a woman who I think she might be an interracial, but she doesn't promote it on her channel. So I'm like, okay, I still love you, but that's I have my feelings against interracial relationships, but I'm not going to simply because the person's in an interracial relationship. All I can do is just give my opinion and why I believe this. So I wasn't at no zero tolerance point where I'd say as long as you ain't, as long as you ain't promoting it. So like with Chrissy, I was like, okay, long as I haven't heard her promoting it, but then she had it was a commercial for cough drops, and it was a wedding, and it was a beautiful black woman, melanated, dark-skinned black woman, but she was getting married to a white man. And the father is like coughing, he's coughing, and he's not coughing because he has something against them getting married. He's coughing because he needs a cough drop. It was a cough drop.
Shaking my head.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, Chris. Yeah.
Excuse me. Excuse me. I'm still here. I'm still putting this screenshot on blast. So I'm just letting y'all know I'm still here.
Okay.
I am
against IR relations. I am pro homeschooling and pro separations. Just in case anybody's not clear.
Thank you. I'm with you, sis. I'm with you.
And I suggest anybody listening to this to go ahead and buy and start reading the books, because they show you how we can function and how we need to function and understand that among each other. This stuff that we're hearing, this controversy and diversity, that's not really natural to us in my mind, because that stuff is new. That stuff I didn't even understand colorism when I was coming up. No.
Yeah.
And I didn't. I mean, they might call each other high yellow and some other name. This is a brother talking to his sister, real sister, biological sister, full same parents, and they going at him in an argument. But the light-skinned people didn't mind being light-skinned. Dark-skinned people didn't mind being dark-skinned. Brown-skinned people didn't mind being brown-skinned. And that's just wasn't a function. I didn't even know it was that until I got around other people.
It's not really a big issue. I'm from Chicago. I noticed with those who are part of the Golden Sphere and stuff, these are people from the South. I'm realizing obviously it's something bigger, perhaps, like in the South. And maybe that has to do with Creole influence or the Spanish and the French and those who, and their influence, when you consider, because I noticed somebody had pointed out all these persons who are part of this Golden Sphere that they from the South. I was like, wow, yeah, this person from here and this person from Texas and this. Yeah, I was like, that's something to think about. Now, it's just me speaking on behalf of, because I speak on behalf of Black women, period. And these are things I know, and I talk about with my two nieces. I guess you can't say it was colorism, but it was featureism in their case, because my sisters, two daughters. One is like caramel colored. She's not dark skinned, but considering that her sister was biracial, you know, and what I had witnessed in the city of Milwaukee, which is different from Chicago. Chicago having a, you know, her having a biracial sister, that wouldn't have been that big a deal. You know what I mean? Well, you know, but Milwaukee, I don't know. It's like they
How old are they?
brainwashed. Now they're in their 30s. Now they actually in their late 30s now.
Oh,
mid to late 30s.
I was gonna say if they were little kids, you could tell them, you know, you could sit them down, but they grown. They need to research themselves.
Yeah, and I was talking about what I had with, like when I was a teenager and they were very young, and in Milwaukee, how the mixed one, she's pretty, and the other, you know. So and also me being able to speak on featureism, and I feel it's linked because I just speak on behalf of Black women, period. But I do believe that yeah, like it's I noticed that different areas, and like, and if I tell them that, okay, well, I didn't have this experience of being bullied by dark skinned Black, you know, like one was like telling me, oh, I find that hard to believe, and like, really, so maybe it's something, and I'm trying to be considerate, you know what I'm saying? But I do know that there are some people they're saying stuff because they want to.
I say that it's time for us to move to our own next level. And among the things I would say is that if you come up to me and tell me you biracial, then I won't consider them having credibility on speaking on Black issues, because I'm for separation. So I'm not for biracials in Black people business. And so I wouldn't even be dealing with biracials, because you just came up to me and told me you were a biracial, which means you're not Black, you're biracial. However, if somebody with that same genetic makeup and came to me and said, I'm Black, then I would consider you Black. But as long as you're telling me you anything else but Black, I'm not going to listen to you, because I'm going to walk away. I'm interested in Black.
It started. That's why it had to start with light-skinned Black people. They claim
light-skinned Black people are different than biracial.
That's what they claim started. Like, for instance, with the Golden Sphere, they're claiming. Now, I didn't know about this. I knew about certain light-skinned sectors up in here. A couple of years ago, I was kind of shocked when I found out who started. You know, the first person, you know, because she was the person who used to follow my channel. Yeah, and I was shocked because I remember Chrissy had spoken on this person.
I'm laughing at you, Sister Lashee, because you were such a warrior. You get in the trenches and fight about anything. They just pull you in so much stuff. You don't need to be in that battle.
But the thing is, I had noticed whenever we used to talk about it on the message forum, we would be hushed on it, you know. And I do
get gray hair just letting people pull
pull
you in that stuff.
Oh no. But you know, when you talk on these things, especially, I don't know why the whole thing with colors, and that's so touchy. I don't quite understand the whole thing with that. But it is something I do feel it need to be addressed, because that was something I noticed for years when people would speak on it, like when I was in the message forum, and whenever it was brought up, it would be hushed. It would be, and yeah, but and like with Rashida Strober, people don't recall, but I witnessed the ugliness towards her. I was there with that when she had with the whole Kendrick Lamar. So I can understand her. You know, of course I can't fully understand her frustration.
When I'm mad at when somebody comes at me and they really bother me and they keep coming at me, then I find a way to pull them aside and ask them if they got a problem, and then we'll address it behind the scenes ourselves.
But it's not being, but that's not how it's, you gotta understand. See, also, it's about, okay, like there are those who saying, okay, it's just a thing of Black women want to be seen in the video shaking their behind. They mad because the rappers ain't showing them in the video shaking it. But I'm like, we gotta understand, media has a big effect. It's not just about wanting to be seen.
So we do want to be on the video shaking our behind?
No, but it's the fact. No, that's not what. See, that's the thing. They making it like it's just about that. Okay, it's just about wanting to. Yeah, if you see it just like that. No, it's just the fact, period. This is what I speak on. I don't see nothing wrong with one. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, that's all right. Excuse me. I got some breaking news. And this is kind of sad. You know how you feel, but this is kind of sad. Coolio died.
What?
49.
Hold on.
This just came through the wire about 15 minutes ago.
Oh my gosh. Well, they're saying he's 59.
Oh, 59. Let me see. I probably read
Yeah,
it.
I know he's got to be older than me.
Yeah, I'm
What in
sorry.
the
I did read. I
world?
did read
Sad
it.
What
news.
is
59.
going on? I've been speaking. What it's like every month there's some rapper, but usually some rapper we don't know about, some kid like a sacrifice. What
Oh,
is
that's what
going
I was just
on?
thinking, Sister Lashid. That's exactly what I was thinking. I was thinking there's some. Yeah. Oh, I hate to say I was thinking this, but wow, they done sold their soul to the devil, and they pulling them back.
What is going on?
This sounds
These
like
are
a
all people of
sacrifice.
my. Oh my gosh. This is like,
Ooh.
I feel like my generation. Well, that means if he was 59, he's actually a baby boomer, a young baby boomer, but in a way, he still kind of represent my generation.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just, and I had showed people where, what was it? You remember I had showed with that Susan, the woman who the CEO of YouTube, where I had showed how they are definitely supporting certain YouTubers, and like it was a rapper named Juice World. I believe he was from Chicago, and she was this guy was saying this is the woman to talk to. She's gonna make sure that you get your views way up, Susan, which whatever her name is. And so I had used this and showing proof that YouTube, they will promote certain channels, and which means that if they're promoting certain channels, making sure they get views, then that means they're also demoting channels and making sure they
Yeah.
don't get
Yeah.
views.
Yeah.
And what was crazy, somebody had posted when I had shared that oh, that guy's dead, right? I'm like, what? The Juice World rapper's dead. I'm like, wait. He was a new rapper just being promoted, right? Like, what is going on now? Okay, if what they
I
what is
think that means something.
Man, it's like there's like sacrifices or something being made. Like, I
Yeah.
noticed how okay, if black on black crime has went down over 60%, when I last did that report, that was like 2017. And it said that what we refer to as black on black crime in the United States actually went down over 60%. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
over 60% in the last 20 years. I know that crime, and despite what you hear about Chirac and all of that, I'm on the south side of Chicago. Despite what we hearing, actually the black murder rate, it's went down. I can't say last time I did a report on that was like 2017. It may have went up in these last couple of years, but it actually has been rising. What they refer to as white on white crime, like, and
Mm-hmm.
Alaska is in the top 10 of the most dangerous states to live in. Okay. And
I believe it.
ain't really no black folks in Alaska. So what's that about? Yeah. So how is it now? You got more rappers getting killed today than back in the late 80s, early 90s, when the crack cocaine epidemic and the gang violence, was off the chain then. But yet now, every time you look up, some rappers being shot or dying untimely. I still don't know what John Fletcher Houdini died of. I've been looking. I still
The
don't know.
radical sister just said he died of a supposed heart attack, and I believe supposed is the operative word there. Supposed heart attack. That's what she just wrote down in the chat.
Oh my
Yes.
God.
I'm reading an article. I could share it in my screen, even though it'll be tiny to see, but still, they say that let me see.
This is crazy.
He died on Wednesday, age 59, and his manager said that he was at a friend's home in Los Angeles, when he excused
Okay.
himself to go to the bathroom when he didn't return after a reasonable amount of time. The friend reportedly called out to him but didn't get a response. Worried, the friend went into the bathroom and discovered Coolio, whose real name is Artis Leon Ivy Jr. on the floor. The paramedics were called immediately. Damn shame.
Can I ask
Following a
what you were reading this
suspected.
from?
Hmm?
Can I ask what you're reading this from? Because I may do it.
It's on page 6. That's the post, I guess.
Put a link in the chat room.
Oh,
Maybe.
sure.
Yeah.
I'll do that.
Because at least with what you're sharing, you're sharing, how he was. Because it's so many people and I
Well,
never
so
even
some of
found out
those,
exactly what they passed from.
some of those definitely they were shot, and I I know only because I have so much comprehensive time, and also I understand the implications of a planet killer that they would work so feverishly to hide. Um, that much of it is ritual murderers when they're shot to death.
Yeah, I
And
think
it
so.
causes distractions, and it also uh, creates fear because a lot of the rappers, they unfortunately they don't know. They're going by what Jay-Z said, that the route to success is to join the satanic coven. And so a lot of them have volunteered, and they don't realize that, like you said, Sister Lashid, Satan still requires human sacrifice.
Yeah,
And so once you sign up for that sort of thing, you're pretty much putting yourself on the roster that if he, whatever, for whatever reason, and I don't mean Satan is real. I mean, it's a, just a group of desperate white folks.
I think Satan's real.
oh,
What?
I think Satan's real. The devil.
Well, I
Yeah.
do, but I think of it as the nothingness. Ultimately, it's a
Exactly.
physical
I agree.
expression of the nothingness. But at the same time, so they're being killed in order to make others who are known, and they sign in a dotted line like Tommy Sotomayor to know that you're in this for keeps. If you don't do and go to the next level that we instruct you to go to in trying to entice the world into a greater level of chaos, then you're just gone. You're just gone.
I agree.
this is
Yeah.
Plus, I think they take him away so he can so they can redistribute that energy
yeah.
from them.
Yes, yes.
Have
Exact
you not
energy
noticed?
vampires. There you
Think
go.
about it. Have you not noticed? Like, and I'm using Cynthia. There is a reason
Now all
why
these channels might get shut
her
down.
I specifically focused on. Have you
Mhm.
not noticed when she was talking on that sacrifice? See, and she wasn't just talking birth control prevention. And I'm not saying I'm not promoting birth control necessarily.
Ah,
But have you not noticed that
now
she
that'll
got a
give the
spot
devil
on?
some strength.
She got a spot on
I
Fox.
need to break in one more time, and I apologize because this is a very serious discussion.
Yeah, I want to hear what Sister Lashee was going to say.
Hold your thoughts, Sister Lashik.
Okay.
In Amazon, they have like a ribbon that they can like put beside a thing. Melanin came out at the beginning or at the end of last month. Melanin is at number 1 in the new sci-fi black sci-fi releases.
Get out.
Get out.
Oh,
Gotta go. Gotta go. Gotta see that.
wow.
It's
That's
at
Wow.
number 1.
Wow.
Show a screenshot of that.
So,
I
Put
mean,
me
I'll
that's
give
for you and your wife.
Yeah, I'm about to screenshot it and then put it on blast, like
do
everything
that
else.
because I want to
Okay,
see
so
that because I can't see what you're talking
Oh,
about.
wow.
yeah, I'm gonna screenshot it and then just kind of like start emailing it to everybody and put it on my Twitter and blah blah blah.
It's
But
number 8,000 in science fiction altogether.
right, and that's
8,000 in science fiction.
in general
Wow.
science fiction is 8,000 in
Yeah,
number
general
1
science
in new
fiction.
releases, and number 18 in black sci-fi.
Okay, I see it at at 18 in the black sci-fi.
And
Ain't that
then
nice?
Did you post a link
Wow.
or
now go up beside
It's
it,
18 in
where-
Kindle, but it's
right,
40 in books.
in books.
Okay, now what are you saying? Go up the side?
Yeah, there's a number 1 ribbon that's like beside the book.
Ah, number 1 release right there where it says in black African American science. It sure is.
What are y'all? Okay, where are y'all going and seeing that?
Go right there to the introductory page where you see Melanin, a novel Kindle
Okay.
edition by
Okay.
Iyapo, and it says 5 stars. Right below where it says those 5 stars is where that orange little bitty banner that says
Right.
number 1 release. Isn't that something?
And if you click on that,
Oh.
then it opens it up.
Wow.
It said number 1. Peace
Okay,
natural.
I see it at
And
number
it says
3.
in
Wow.
black.
Upload
Yep, it's
differently.
number 1. Number 2 is where it rains in color. Wow.
We ain't paying attention to them. You like,
Oh
yes.
my gosh, that is so awesome.
Wow.
You go.
That's unbelievable.
Uh,
It's believable because it happened, but that's still unbelievable.
mm.
Isn't that nice?
Mm, that is
Congrats.
and we know you.
Peace Pro U Services Limited. I see you out there. I'm sorry. Thank you. Thanks, Marjorie. I mean, you know I'm gonna send you a screenshot. Number one. So okay. I'm gonna let you get back to the conversation. I'm gonna start blasting this out again.
Oh, I'm still looking on this page. I'm like looking through all these other sci-fi suggestions.
But what were you going to say, Sister Lasheen?
As well. Oh,
About
I'm sorry.
sacrifice.
I'm scrolling through looking.
Well, you were talking about
let me close
Sister Cynthia G talking about aborting black babies.
Yes.
If you notice, have you
and
not
that's a
noticed,
sacrifice.
Before, like when she would do her videos, you'd see she looked like she was in an empty, because there was so much information I still had not put out there, okay, that I had discovered. Because remember when I showed you with, the Pharaoh Majesty, her sister crying over the death of Hugh Hefner, and sister go by the name 666 and all of that. But if you've noticed, she's now on Fox Panel. It looked like her apartment. So it's going to make it seem as if you've been granted, you've been rewarded. See, she wasn't, if you notice, her apartment looks a little fancier now. So it's like she's ever since talking on that, promoting the sacrifice, like you've done a good job. So that's why she wasn't just talking birth control, prevention, celibacy, abstinence. Why? And she's using terms like selective breeding. That's Darwin. What Black people use those terms? She's been using terms like selective breeding. Those are Darwinism, evolution terms. But talking selective breeding, and at the same time, she's promoting this new world tarot, this tarot lady. Promoting, to go, you remember what I had exposed? This woman thanking her for all the people sent over, because this is all very satanic. I had found, and I didn't even expose all of this. Her being a participant with her sisters with the Erotic Arts Festival in Seattle, very wicked, very satanic. Okay.
If you're gonna do cars, make your own design. Build your own car. Don't use theirs.
I ain't none of that. None of that. And so it's like it's gonna seem as if that, like she's been like I told you, she's always been encountered with Fox News, News. When you think about it, because how was she able? She was just a person with Boyce Watkins. How was she already doing interviews with Jesse Lee Peterson? You gotta think about these things. I noticed that around 2015, 2016, you got like a plethora of Black YouTubers who came in here. We got to know of Young Pharaoh, Sonetta, who is basically Saw Satan. And notice how his main focus is debunking the Bible. He got his main focus. He is the Don King of YouTube. Always got Black folks. Hebrews, Israelites versus Comedics versus Nation Islam versus. He is like, that's all it's about with him is verses. You never see. I had like 7 to 10 strikes on my channels total, and perhaps more than that. I don't know how. It's just once one strike is removed, another one ends up coming. And I've had 2 channels total terminated. How is it? Have you ever, if they were such a threat, if they're the pro-Black that you would think is a threat, you've never heard of them talking about how they've had a strike on their channel or anything such as. You've never seen that. And I had proven, even though Cynthia G said that wasn't her original channel, because I've got the screenshot of one of her old addresses when I was addressing one of her videos years ago. And you will go to it and it will show that the video's on private. So her channels was never shut down. Her channel, they are not, So they've rewarded her. She's been recently, that's what it was after that she started talking about aborting your baby boys, because we got Molech worshipers. Let's just keep it real. This stuff still goes on. They've granted her. Now you gotta, and you notice I had pointed out when she was recently in that, when Umar Johnson brought up what she was talking about aborting baby boys, notice how it was cut off. Well, we don't have time to talk about that. Notice how they stopped that, the conversation when he mentioned that about what she said on aborting little boys. So this stuff,
I think that's why he came there.
Huh?
I think that's why he came there. But that's a good point that you made about aborting the boys, because
Why would they have
that's
somebody like that on their
sacrifice.
team?
That's a human sacrifice, I think, on some level, because that
And to be
energy.
selective about it, it just,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, she
it's
uses
ghoulish.
terms like selective breeding. She
Mm-hmm.
uses those terms. What
Mm-hmm.
black people even if they don't believe in the Bible, what black people use terms like selective breeding?
Well, I unfortunately I lost the image. I wonder. I hope I can find it one day again. But Time Magazine, as soon as she started peddling this whole selective abortion thing, Time Magazine in their weekend section had a whole layout about, should we be having babies? Is this a selfish thing to do?
Wow.
And they had a drawing that looked exactly like Cynthia G,
You
smiling and
oh,
cooing at a baby. And when I saw that, I said,
Oh.
that's Cynthia G. And they're finding a way to celebrate her without using an actual image of her. So yeah, I'm not surprised they're rewarding her,
her
because otherwise, why would they put such a vicious human being? They would even mention her anti-white rhetoric before that.
Yeah, she did have any. The
yeah.
thing is, though, about this is that everybody that's in that cabal have to know they got an expiration date themselves.
Yes,
Mm.
Tommy, he's an example. He thought that he could go so far talking about the, I'll say, little hat. He thought he could go so far in responding to the whole thing with Joe Rogan. I briefly showed people on my channel why he's gone now. Anytime he tries to come back up in here and build up on his old channels or something, they getting rid of him. They don't need him no more. He really has crossed the line because he thought that, oh, I have the white majority, so I'm safe and okay. Like, no, because it's not even really about just white people. This is an agenda that goes, white people are just the primary soldiers.
Get
Okay,
the
they just the
books,
ones who do the most of the dirty, the hard, you know what I'm saying? Most of the
the
dirty work.
arms and legs, the heavy lifting.
Right, exactly. But they don't even, when you learn of the Jesuit order and all that, I don't mean to be, but I'm just saying, they don't see, and this in Cynthia G, see, people and those who follow her, she got blood on her hands. Let's say if she has influenced people. That is the Most High ain't gonna forget that. And so you think that the Tommy has been so salty because he feels that Kevin Samuels and getting people getting glory over him, his punishment is really great. His punishment is probably greater than Kevin Samuels, because at least we could say he may be resting. It all depends on what but he's going nuts now, because and because when you consider his ego, and he's seeing that these manosphere people taking all the glory, what he claims were his talking points. So but they don't need him no more, and
No, they
and
don't need
they
him.
they and if she's got blood on her hands, and influencing people, because it wasn't just enough to say, oh, stay to yourself, stay abstinent, say celibate, or even prevention, birth control and stuff. She
I hope
was
she's
saying
smart enough to keep her
clearly,
money.
yeah, she was clearly saying to abort, and that's why they had that old thing. Oh, then it's a guy who's supposedly a rapper who threatened Cynthia G. That's so you could get your mind off of what she was. That was all set up so that it could get your mind, and you could feel pity for her. She knew why would Fox be affiliated with somebody who would go that far? It wasn't just a thing of pro-choice. She was talking selective breeding on the sex. That is, and when I heard that, I'm like, I'm thinking the Bible, Moses. They were trying to go through the women, who of course would be black women, and trying to get them to kill the boy, And the same thing with the Messiah, Yahushua Mashiach, who's referred to as Jesus. They wanted to target the boys. And so is it a coincidence that not long after, with what Cynthia G is talking about, then all of a sudden this whole thing with the Roe versus Wade is over? Come on now, that's to bring attention and get people stirred up. And they're trying, and this is what's making me mad, how they're trying to make black women the voice of, they're trying to make you think that they are finally listening to black women. They're trying to make us the voice of everything. Like even with this recent film, The Woman King, they're trying to, I'm tired of them living vicariously through black women, those who want to cut off the heads of men, while at the same time preserving their feminine image. You know what I'm saying? They'll use Viola Davis, whoever, while preserving their feminine image. But because there are white women and one biracial who are primarily behind the Woman King film. Okay, and if you learn anything about the kingdom of the homie, these are things I already knew about, but I was kind of afraid to talk about. But I'm glad now it's being, like when we talk about the homie
That
and those
film
warriors.
flopped, from what I understand,
I,
because
I
most
don't
of
know.
us
That's
was
what I
not
was
going
told,
to
but
it.
I heard it's a
That's
success.
beautiful.
I thought it was.
I think white people are watching it.
Yeah.
I am action adventure city, but if I'm not even going to watch it, then that means something is definitely wrong. But every time I see the promos for it, that's it. I mean, I watch Milan, I would watch almost any movie, but that one is wrong. Something is off about that. That ain't right. And I don't like
I
that. I don't
did
want a
watch
man
it.
batching movie. I mean, Milan, the Asian girl who did the Chinese thing, and that's a great little movie. But this one is wrong. And there were Black women who did lead armies and things in Africa, definitely. But this one is wrong. That's not even based on it's not even true to the character that it's based on.
The
That woman,
homie.
the real character was actually turncoat, from what I understand.
Yeah,
Turncoat
the
to Africa
empire of
altogether.
Benin was established off of us, off of slaves. Let's just keep it real. They're not
Yeah,
being
and
totally
there's
honest.
pictures of the drawings of the original, the etching of the original one. I think she's the one that's sitting on a man's back, who's as she's talking to a white person. And so they
Yep.
did, and I think they chose Viola Davis for a reason. Because
And
you
I'm not
remember her trying
mad
to
at her.
promote for Liam Neeson, talking about how handsome he is. I mean, really? So
What? Wait,
no.
hold. She did what? Oh,
She was in a movie with Liam Neeson, and she was
Yeah.
promoting it and said that, "Oh, I get to
it's
kiss
so.
Liam Neeson," and she's just shivering.
Oh. See, I like Viola Davis. Oh
Oh, you
God.
didn't hear that one? I
She
did a
did.
whole
I
share
saw
on
it with my
that.
Oh.
own eyes as she was promoting it. She
Yeah,
said,
she was
"Oh, and I get
saying
to
it.
kiss Liam Neeson," and she's shivering and
Ain't Liam
being all
Neeson the one
girly.
who said some racist stuff too? He said
Liam
some.
Neeson, the tall, skinny, no-lipped individual.
And he also said some stuff. Didn't he say some stuff on?
I don't
He
know about
used to
that.
wanna, yeah, on. Okay, wait. He said some not
I
that
could
long
I
ago.
could share if you want me
Some,
to.
oh my lord, this is so tough.
Okay.
Oh goodness, every time.
All your
And
friends are into too Sister Lasheen. All
oh
your
goodness,
friends are just in
it's like you can't trust nobody. It's like everybody now is social media or Holly weird. You got to question them if they are kind of. And I would have been like, "Don't take this out on Viola Davis. Don't." Here I am doing streams defending her. Oh Lord! And Liam Nelson. This is the same guy. Hold on, y'all. He said something. Okay, he embraced the storm after admitting he wanted to kill a black man.
Yep, that's Liam
Oh,
Neeson.
who told that woman to say that?
She said that a few years ago, and she was shivering and gushing about how she kissed him in a movie.
I'm done. I'm not even going to. Lord, I'm not even going to. Because it's like I have tried, like with Kwame Brown of it. I try to. I really don't want to be hard. You know what it's about. I love black people. So I be trying to look at, oh, it's the industry. Oh, it's this and that. Even with Cynthia G, when people were telling me,
You did try, Queen.
even with Cynthia G, when they were saying, because I used to talk about how they're gonna find a female equivalent to Tommy. They're gonna find, but I thought that it would be somebody just as outrageous as Tommy. But then they were telling me, Lashid, I think that equivalent is Cynthia G. I wasn't seeing it at that time.
Bless your Lord.
I wasn't seeing it because I felt like, it'd have to be somebody as outrageous. But no, I realized you don't go at women like that. If they, just imagine if it was a woman just off the bat to be sounding like Tommy, Yeah, and then see, like with her, because she was good when she would be putting, crackers in check. But that's why we got to be careful. The ones that be coming off evil, when they be talking all like that, all like a black exploitation flick or something.
Bless your heart.
You got to be careful with these ones that be coming off and they be seeming all extreme and stuff. Lord,
Bless
I
your heart.
might have to look that up on Viola Davis.
Yeah,
because
do
I really
that.
respect her, and that's what was making it hard for me with the criticism. Even though the criticism of the film is just, I don't want people coming after her or because I do respect her.
They chose her for a reason. Watch that little clip. And I saw that with my own eyes as she was in an interview, shivering, talking about and gushing that she gets to play in.
Gosh.
Yeah,
It's
as she was
bad enough
promoting the
when the
movie.
one sister in Slave play, because
I don't know. Can
really
you
like
hear me?
her.
Yes, I can hear you, Radical
Okay,
Sister.
I don't know if you can hear me. I want to just add, think about Viola Davis's career. She started out playing a maid who in the scene, she was compared to a roach, or she was comparing herself. See, I'm like that roach. So this is a person who will take whatever role that she could get. And what she did is, I noticed it's like they'll have this appeal to a broad amount of Black us, where your hair is natural, is something really wonderful. And then later on, they just turn it all into a white supremacy bow down.
Yep.
And it's like with Albert Pike, where we'll give them their leaders for them. And then when their leaders make a change in their minds, they'll say, oh, that's where I'm supposed to go too. And they're just picking at us and picking at us and picking at us, because it's like with the last time that we started having Black consciousness, when saying Black power was, not considered corny back in my childhood. And they just kept picking with the Black, like Sister Gwen, when you said the Blaxploitation, you hope that that doesn't happen.
Yes.
With pro-Black literature. But if enough people continue to write and expand the genre, then they're going to infest it with those who are going to they're going to find out a way to just slowly pivot it back into something that is like, oh, integration is what we need. Like Black Panther, you also have mentioned how true Black Panther was a white supremacist movie, because at the end, there he is saying, oh, we've got to share our, resource with the world. And you said it was so on point. How many resources has the world already stolen from Africa? Vibranium, that's the name of the stuff.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, Viola's always, she's from the outset of her career, she's bowed down.
So, and that's the important thing about what we were talking about.
Can I break in for a second?
Yes, sir.
I want to piggyback on what Sister Radical saying. In addition to everybody else, it's something that I just now noticed recently, and it's very interesting. You know how hard it is now. Maybe 20, 30 years ago, it wasn't so much this way. But now you know how hard it is to find dark-skinned Black women on like network television and so on, right? Would you agree that that's true?
Yes.
That if you want to see dark-skinned Black women and dark-skinned Black men, for that matter,
right?
You know where you go? Fox News.
And then that's where, they did that on purpose too.
It piggybacks on what Sister Radical was saying, because they use us to promote their agendas, and that's the only place that they really want a bunch of dark-skinned Black people, is pushing a Republican and conservative agenda. That's just very unusual. I just started noticing that recently. I was like, bro, there sure are a lot of dark-skinned Black people on Fox News. And so anyway, that's it. I'm still sending stuff on blast. So
that's good. So that's why we got to control our narrative, like you say, and that's what this is all about: is getting control and keeping control over our story to stop that kind of nonsense when it's going to come at us.
I'm sorry, that's what I thought with channels like Christian stuff. That's what I thought that the darkism, like as Rashida Stolberg would talk about, activism was about. That's what I thought. You know, it was more about control, not just, oh, I want to be seen shaking my booty, and you know what I'm saying, I want this rapper to put me in this video instead of her. No, it's about sending the message that okay, there's nothing wrong with a woman wanting to be desired. I'm not saying that that's the only way that we could be desired, shaking our mind. Okay, all right, there's nothing wrong with wanting to be seen as a love interest in the film, or into, because when we're young and we see these films, like when I was younger, I used to have a big crush on Prince, for instance. As a musician, that was back in the 80s. But the females wouldn't look like me. They didn't look like me. The vanities, but I didn't really. I still loved Prince, because I thought that he was maybe racially ambiguous anyway. So I figured, oh, the females look like me. But a lot of times when I was younger and then see videos of females back in the 80s and stuff, especially considering how it was in the 80s, females didn't quite look like myself, or didn't, and there's nothing wrong with the young girl, whether we're talking about a video like Roxanne, U2FO, and the great thing with hip hop, however, you did begin to see more round the way girls are representing. Like, even if you look at Biz Markie's Just a Friend, she was a female that was relatable. And there's nothing wrong with young females wanting to see themselves as love interest to this and that in the film. There is nothing, whether we're talking film, music videos. I'm not saying it's you want to just be seen shaking the booty, but it still gives a message. Even if we're talking in booty shaking videos, it still gives a message that this is what males should desire, regardless. You know what I'm saying? This is the phenotype. This is the, you know what I'm saying, that and whether or not we want to admit it, these things do affect, and kids are watching. Like, I watched MTV, BET when I was younger. These things do have an effect. And I thought that that's all that was being pointed out. Yeah, but see, like with this thing, I'm looking at the link that Marjorie Lightsey Jones shared, Viola Davis, because I didn't think she would, because isn't she married? Ain't she like got a black husband and everything? Yeah, so I'm looking at this, and I see what's going on. See, they want to send this message. See, they and this is another thing too. I used to think that I used to say that, okay, they may promote, they may sleep with black women, but they're not going to be marrying or promoting marriage of black women. I take that back. I honestly do think that now they're trying to be like these Latin American nations, having them under the illusion of inclusion, where they ended up eventually marrying these Brazilian women, making them think, oh, you're not black, we're all Brazilian, we're all Colombian, we're all one. But if you notice, the people in positions of power are the whitest people in positions of power. But of course,
that's just an old game they've been playing all over the world, though.
That's think how they are Hawaii became light skinned. Those who control Hollywood, little hats. I think they are trying to promote the idea of marriage between white men and black women, and they want to send this message with whatever this film and whatever with Viola Davis, that okay, that black men, they don't see you as a preference, but this white guy Liam Neeson does. He appreciates Viola Davis. That's what I think that
they've been doing that for a while now.
Let me add one thing here, though, is that there will never be an overwhelming number of white men or any non-black men who are going to be marrying black women. They're going to use them. That's the locker room conversation these dudes have. It's sort of the same thing when you had, like crooner bands that would sing love songs as if they were just like all wrapped into one woman, and they knew they were just singing that song so they could get the most options of girls after the gig.
Yes.
So it's the same type of thing where on the surface there might be some black women who stupidly believe that this is the new, movement. Oh, liberation. So we could all marry whomever we want to marry, but they're not going to marry you because they know they've got you so desperate to get some acknowledgement that they could just talk you out of them panties.
Now they might have babies with you, but they're not going to keep you.
They're not going
And
to keep you.
enough to dilute your bloodline and all of that. They'll do that. They did that in Asia. They did that worldwide. Look at Australia now.
Whited out agenda is
the miscegenation. They changed the whole population. Look at Native Americans now. I mean, this is worldwide. They've been doing this. They know how to do that, and they know how to. They already got that formula, and they're running it on us as well. We're waking up, and the good ones of us are waking up and not letting it happen. Is in conversations like this will prove. But there's a lot of us that are so brainwashed that they still think that that's good despite looking at the world around them, because we never should have been fooling with them. We should have been able to look around, but we didn't have enough evidence at first. Now it's clear. And so I don't have as much patience as I used to with people who are still having interracial relationships.
Yes, because I understand that there are, those who are more forgiving, and that's everyone's choice. But it is a beguilement. And it's, and that's the reason why the Most High said, no, you don't do that. Because it makes the children who were already being stressed out by all the madness they send out here and all the propaganda that keeps swearing we're the worst people on the planet, or we're the most embarrassing and we should be worried about what the world thinks about us. And so that is going to automatically present, oh, but you have an option. And then white people get to present themselves as just these knights in shining armor, and the women are running through cornfields, and everything about them is natural.
And that little dress.
With the Hegelian dialectic.
That floppy dress that they wear, the women in, the blondes.
Exactly.
I don't know where they get them dresses from, but
I'm telling you.
So that's why it's like, it's not just the swirlers and the divestors. It's the bleed out idea that if you could, it's bloqueamiento. It's a political strategy.
Yes. Yep. And it's been a game a long time. That's what they're doing in Asia. That's why I swear I think that's why some of Korea and some of the other Asian countries have gone crazy, is because they got these mixed race people there that are speaking the white agenda, and they can't help it. They can't help it. And so we got to know that we got to do something different too. I'm going to be getting off of here in about 6 minutes, because 3.5 hours is enough for me. I love y'all to death, but that's too much talking.
I'm used to it. I'm so used to it.
Yeah, I know. I seen you. I look at the time and I said, okay, I may be late.
Especially since 2021. Goodness great. No, that's
I can't do this.
I can't do that. Nah, that's too much for me. I got so many other things and I love y'all, and I love everything about what you're saying and doing, but I ain't gonna do 3.5 hours. That's enough.
It's like I gotta say something.
Go ahead, Sister Lucille.
No, I was gonna say
you got 5 minutes.
Say something on Coolio. No, I'm saying
that's right. Mediate, Gwen.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go and do a stream on Coolio. No, I gotta say something.
4 minutes.
Even though I'm tired now, but I'm gonna have to go do a stream on that. This is, I don't know. But I'm gonna get to that point. I'm gonna just say this. I'm gonna get to that point of zero tolerance. It's difficult because I know so many of our people. It's not about them being devious. Many of us are just still ignorant. And that's why I feel, maybe that's just, I tell myself.
Be on the wrong side of the Most High. You don't have to be devious. Yeah, he makes that, clear. It's not about that you intend to do evil. It's just that you're believing the liars. That's all. It's not a patent sin.
Like when I had subscribed to like Cynthia G, for instance, and I knew that she was saying things against the Bible. Like when I initially heard her through Boyce Watkins, and I overlooked it because I said, well, maybe it's just ignorance. When she kept on, I noticed taking jabs at Black people believing the Bible, and she has a right to her opinion. So I told myself, like I told with certain others, it's ignorance. Well, that's why it's my job to perhaps get people to know it's not the white man's book, et cetera, et cetera, So I felt that's how I told myself. And that's why I kind of tell myself with, Black and giving the benefit of the doubt, not about being naive or fooled, but given because I do love Black people. But even though I always sense the coldness from her. So it's like I still I've noticed there's somebody commenting from the Golden Sphere in my comment section, but they're commenting to me nicely, respectfully. So it's like, and when people may be trying to get you to ease up and soften up, you know what I'm saying? And I just don't know no more. Well, thank you so much for and letting me know about this stream, because they probably would not have. Let me guess, it's probably still ain't in my notification. Nope, I don't see anything in my notification, even though I'm subscribed and I hit the bell and everything. Nothing pops up in my notifications that this stream is going.
Well,
so
this was an exciting stream. I thank everybody for participating. What I want to do is, I want to shout out Gwen B, which Gwen, you're here. I'm going down the list. And if I miss anybody, somebody help me out. Brother Roy O, Fabulous Gila, thank you for the super chat. General Mosquito. Let's see. I know my aunt Speaks came in, and she may be gone. But yeah, go subscribe to this sister's channel. But anyway, Information Man came in. I'm sorry I didn't greet you. I didn't see you when you came in. I sent you a text message while I was putting everybody on blast for that thing. Oh, Golden Black, when you came in, peace to you. I didn't see you come in. Like I said, I was, I was busy I was busy like.
You got a #1 book.
With my mouth hanging open. So. Golden Black one, subscribe to her channel. And as Information Man says, when you see other people in the chat room, just go and check out the channel, see if they have a channel, and if they do, subscribe. Warrior Status. Let's see.
Nervy Girl 1.
Thank you, Nervy Girl 1. JB.
Queen, I Know Who I Am.
Queen, I Know Who I Am. Thank you. And let's see. I think Avery Hodges, and Avery Hodges has been rocking with me a long, long time. Always has been. I'll put it like this: when I don't see a comment from Avery in my on one of my videos, I know that they probably shadow banned him out of it, so that when he looks at it, looks like it's there, and I just can't see it. Marjorie Lightsey Jones. And I'll tell you guys a little secret. Marjorie and I go way back. We've been friends for close to 30 years.
Wow.
And she is just a precious, precious friend to me. She's been reading my work for almost 30 years. And if I was to write something on a napkin in a diner, she would read it. She just has always been a big cheerleader for me, and she's still one. So Natural, thank you so much. Natural she's as new as Marjorie is old, and I don't mean old in age, but going back with her. And Natural, she like came in full force, just supporting. I appreciate it so much. And there's a Warrior Status, and I think I got everybody. And so what I want to say in closing, Sister AJALI has I was gonna let you say it for yourself, but Sister AJALI has 3 books. She has This Black Nation, and Furnace of Affliction, which is nonfiction, and is Radiation Cures. All of those are available on Amazon, and they're also available at her King's site, 25,000yearcycle.net, not .com, .net. And they're available for a substantial discount from Amazon, and they can also be autographed. So you might want to consider getting the works from there instead of Amazon. Now, some of them Sister Rackle, I wish you'd stay so I can remember which ones are not hard copy yet, but you can definitely get the download. And I think is this Black Nation that's available right now, and Furnace of Affliction that you can get as hard copy and get them autographed. And if that's not right, then go on and correct me. Also, my wife Angela, the beautiful, brilliant Black Angela, has her story on the Kindle Vella Vella platform, and the first 3 episodes are up, and the first 3 episodes are free to read. The story is called "I Declare Love." Declare is spelled Declaire, just like a woman's name, Claire, with DE in front of it. I Declare Love. And it's a romance story. So, and it's Black love without a whole bunch of messy drama. Everything will have like a little bit of tension in it, but not like this all jacked up stuff that we become so accustomed to. So, and it's a good read. I've read it before. I've read it all the way through because there's more to come. So check that out. There's also a story called Since I Seen You, SEEN' by Ayoka B. Ayoka is spelled AYK or A. How you spell Ayoka's name? AYOKA. Right. AYOKA. It's Ayoka B. The story is called Since I Seen You. And it's a wonderful story. It's a story that's true to life, and it's somewhat autobiographical. And that is also on the Kindle Vella platform. So look for that. The first 3 stories in all of Kindle Vella are free to read. So just try them out. And the stories aren't a big commitment. They're usually short. You can read them in 10, 15 minutes on a lunch break or whatever, and just try them out. Like I said, you can't beat free. And after you do read them, be sure and leave a thumbs up and to follow the story and comment if you can. And there's also notes from the authors on there, and it's a pretty good platform. Also, my story, Surviving the Worst, is on the Kindle Vella platform. The first 3 are free, just like I said, and then mine are the 4th one begins the paywall. So the 4th, 5th, and everything after that begins in the paywall. But read those first 3. It's an epic story. It'll make you laugh. Some people said that it scared them. They got a little scared reading it. So it's a sci-fi, horror, fantasy, and starting to turn into romance. It just has like the kitchen sink thrown in. So that's Surviving the Worst, and that's also on Kindle Vella. And it's under Iyapo Yapa. And of course, there is Melanin, a novel, #1 in the hot new sci-fi books, hot new Black sci-fi books on Amazon, and number 18 in Kindle. And I am beyond humbled just that people are purchasing the book, that people are reading the book, and that people are promoting it, sharing it. I can't even really put into words how grateful I am and how thankful I am and appreciative of everything that you're doing, and of everyone. And I mean that. So I think that's about it. And I'll wrap it up. Thank you to the beautiful Black women who were on the panel: AJALI, Shabazz, Queen Gwen B, and our beloved Sister Lashid. Thank you so much. And I'll probably be checking you out, Sister Lashid, if you're getting ready to do live stream after this one. And with that, I'm going to say good night. I probably won't get to sleep because I'm so excited. So thank you so much. Thank you so much. And I'll talk to you soon. Peace.